What's up, everybody? We're here in the last day of the round of 4. I don't know if we can top the games that we already saw yesterday, but fingers crossed, man. And if anybody could do it, it would be these two guys. This is Bisu versus Soma.
This is an unbelievable match that we are going to be going into here. I actually think it probably will top yesterday. Like, I loved yesterday. It was completely amazing. But at the end of the day, you know, it was a 4-1 for Snow. He was relatively dominant. It was a good series. But when I look at this is like the greatest Protoss ever to have lived, who's in top form. His Protoss versus Zerg has looked second to none, and he's going up against the return of Soma. Soma has been so hungry while he's been in the military to get back into ASL. He was almost a champion before, and he just looks phenomenal. I've watched so many Soma games leading up to this tournament, where, like, my prediction, you know, I made one of those little YouTube videos of talking about the tournament. I was like, I think Snow or Soma will win. And Soma has a chance here to make finals on his first return. That's insane.
This is going to be so fun. I've got my fingers crossed here that Bisu advances. I would love to see Bisu win an ASL. Even just to have him in a finals would be huge. You know, you've got Flash, Jaedong, and Bisu, and those are like the 3 players, one of each race from that golden era of StarCraft 2, that 2008, maybe 2009, 2007 period, right before StarCraft 2 came out. And there's a lot of nostalgia for those guys, so it would be incredible to see Bisu get into the finals here. But Soma might be able to take this. As strong as Bisu is, from A to Z when it comes to this matchup,
yeah,
Soma is, I think, one of the hardest people to take on, especially in early game.
Yeah, I think his game theory is really second to none. He was the strategic leader of Zerg, which is it's like a big title, man. Because there is like a strategic leader generally of each race at a given time, right? We always have Flash for Terran that's kind of leading the metagame, and Soma was doing that before he went to the military. Like, this guy really understands. I've watched some of, like, I'm not a Zerg player, but I watch some translated Soma guides because the guy is so brilliant. And in fact, he was the first non-pro gamer to break into pro gamer ranks, and he's actually one of the best players in the world without question. When people are like, oh, are the pro gamers gatekeeping by only playing each other and not, like, letting others in? I'm like, you'll get in if you get good enough. That's what Soma did.
Yeah. That's very, very correct. That's actually kind of a funny question. Like, are they gatekeeping? I'm like, they don't care who's they're playing against. If they're really good, they need to practice, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty split down the middle here as far as who's going to take this. But it does lean towards Bisu, which is kind of funny because I think Tastosis and I are in agreement. Like, I want Bisu to win, but I think maybe this is Soma favored. But I almost said flavored. Soma flavored game. But yeah, you know, let's see what happens here. Bisu obviously has been one of the greatest PvZers that's ever existed, but right now the Zergs are very strong in this matchup.
Yeah, you can see that the fans think Soma is going to win. As far as the pros go, I saw that for 4-0 it was Larva, but Larva is like Soma's buddy. Like, Larva's the guy that kind of convinced Soma to really go full-time at StarCraft. And then I saw Jaedong say that Bisu would 4-0, which I think is kind of an interesting one. When I see something like that, I'm like, oh, probably Jaedong was one of Bisu's top practice partners, and Bisu probably slammed him, you know? And Jaedong's like, damn, dude, like, you're gonna kill Soma. So always interesting to see what those pros think, but when we got to discount the Terran names, I think, in there as well.
Yeah, what do they know, right?
They don't know.
All right, guys, we're going to be going into this match momentarily here. Soma versus Bisu in a best of 7. The winner goes off to face off against Snow here in the finals.
We're going through the round of 4 of ASL as only one spot in the grand final remains to be decided. Let's call today's 2 competitors on stage. Showered with praise as a strong contender for the title, he does not lose to Protoss at all. It's our Zerg player Soma. and his opponent, our Protoss, who has undergone an upgrade and returns in perfect form. The one to exterminate all of Zerg. It's Bisu. Only one more player will move on to the grand final here at Google Play ASL. For one, it would be 10 seasons, and 20 for the other. Who indeed will we see in the finals? Let's talk to our players. Please come a little closer. Fake Jaedong, Soma. You've reduced all the Protoss to ash. And now, only Bisu remains. As you were practicing for this, what impression did you get? What sort of a match did you expect? Bisu is the Protoss GOAT, and he lives up to that title. The burden was quite real for me. I think he plays really well, so I prepared very diligently. GOAT? Yes. GOAT? Why are you laughing? Right, a GOAT who has been fighting for a title for 20 seasons. Bisu, you just heard what Soma said. He called you a GOAT and then gave us a little smile. Like he's about to enjoy a delicious meal. Bisu, what is on your mind? Soma has always had a way with words. Quite sarcastic, huh? But honestly, I took and acknowledged the fact that he is better than me. But I have this feeling, a feeling from way back, from when I was winning championships. He does win a lot, but I have confidence, I'm confident. In any case, I've always preferred playing versus Zerg compared to the other matchups. I feel confident in it, and I have an inkling I know what he feels he needs to do, so I'm confident. You've been born anew. You threw everything out, kept your mouse, and Bisu rises like a phoenix from the ashes. And your confidence, you know, as you were walking on stage, you had this aura of your past glory from the pro gamer days around you. I'm sure many people felt it. What do you think? The force you embodied back in the day on the final stage as you took down many a player to claim championships. To what degree do you think it's back? Oh, that's not the feeling I was talking about. Oh, that's not it? No, because, you know, it's been 3.5 years since I advanced this far. Honestly, another chance in 4 years? I won't have another one like this. I feel today is a very important match. Soma, you've made it into the finals of ASL, and you are a runner-up. This season, none of the semi-finalists have lifted an ASL trophy. This is a golden opportunity. Your opponent is Bisu. What do you think? Honestly, thinking about the finals won't do right now, because Bisu is a very real threat. So I didn't think about the finals matchup at all. I plan to utilize everything in my arsenal of builds in order to win. And if all those builds end up working successfully, what score do you predict today? I think I'll win 4-1. 4-1? Wow. Bisu? Soma predicts a 4-1. What are your thoughts on this? The 5th set is on Roaring Currents, and I was the one to pick it. I will win 4-1. Wow, both are predicting a 4-1 victory for themselves. In that case, before we start, let's have you guys address one another. Starting with Soma, please tell Bisu what today's match is going to be like. It's an honor to face off against Bisu, but it will be me who moves on to the finals. I am going to the finals. Sorry and thank you. And Bisu? You know, his nickname is Fake Jaedong. I will show you what a fake he is. A face-off between real Bisu and Fake Jaedong. Soma, do you have a response? In the ASL, we once played a best of 5 and he lost 2-3. I can still remember his face when he lost the last set on Sylphid. I'll make it so I can see that face again. Another long break? Bisu, please. Yeah, but I've been beating him ever since. I feel confident. Got it. The showdown between Soma and Bisu. Who will move on to the grand final? Please put your hands together and make some noise. It's time to start the match.
히드라를 모아서 뛰는 것 자체가 또 들어올 겁니다. 하드코어 히드라 러쉬예요.
노스포닝 3의 처리.
변화무쌍하고 정말 과감한
돌아온 박상의 미친 판단력을 보여주면서 이번 시즌 4강에 올라갑니다.
완벽한 컨디션에 김태경의 대저그전은 이 정도 수준까지 보여줄 수 있다는 것을 딜럿이 저승사자입니다. 지금 올라갔습니다. 병력이 올라가면 못 봐요. 저그를 잡기 위해서 태어난 프로토스 같다.
This is it, everybody. We are hopping into this match. I'm so excited for this. Bisu versus Soma. This should be a real back and forth. I can't imagine that there is one player who would be super one-sided with a victory here at Tastosis. I think this could go all the way to Game 7.
Yeah, I think there's a very good chance. Like, you know that it's not going to be a 4-0, 4-1 type of thing. That's, like, completely insane, and it just could not happen with these two players. But yeah, this is like old versus new right now. You know, I'm so excited because like every storyline from here is amazing. And imagine if Bisu wins an ASL. What would that even do to the scene? To have the greatest Protoss of all time come back to top form and be the champion.
I think it would be one of the best things that could happen to StarCraft. And the game's already in a great state. The viewership is through the roof for Soup, which is the biggest streaming platform in the company. StarCraft 1 is the most viewed game on it. Number 2 is League of Legends, in case you were wondering. Now, yeah, if Bisu wins, you know, we've talked about this with Jaedong before, but it's the same rule applies with Bisu. They're from that same era. People are super nostalgic for players like Bisu. Bisu's stream is massive. It's always been massive. He's got a big following. But he was kind of a round of 16, round of 8 guy for a long time. He certainly had moments in ASLs where he got pretty far into the round of 4s even. But this does feel like if there was a tournament where he could win, an ASL season where he could take it, this could be it.
Yeah, we're right there. We're right on the doorstep. And the thing is, like, we're not even hitting his weak matchup. Like, I think his Protoss vs. Terran is probably his weakest. And his Protoss vs. Zerg is probably his strongest. So I'm looking at that. I'm like, this is a real good opportunity for Bisu to actually end up taking this down. His Protoss vs. Zerg has looked immaculate throughout this tournament, and he's been practicing really hard. Like, before last season, he actually took a bunch of time off streaming and was just grinding himself. And trying to get to that level, and he kind of had a disappointing season last season, but here he is in the round of 4. You know, it takes some time for that stuff to catch up to you, and I think that this is a great moment for him.
It's exciting, but it's not going to be easy. You know, Soma, I think, is one of the scariest Zergs out there, and even though Bisu probably has the best early game PvZ, I would also say Soma probably has the best early game ZVP.
That's a
you know,
good, that's a
one thing
good way to
about
put it.
Bisu-
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, the early game is going to be more important in the match between these two, more important than pretty much any other matchup we have here in ASL for this season, and probably many of the other seasons we have. Because Bisu, even when he loses, he doesn't look weak versus Zerg. You know,
certainly.
Occasionally he'll get overpowered early, but it's rare. When he pushes, he tends to close it out. He does a lot of games where he's just breaking bones on the Zerg throughout until eventually he finishes him off. But Soma's very decisive. He seems to do a lot of counter attacking. He knows really when to Hydra bust or when to like ramp up Hydra pressure and then turn it off. So this is going to be fun. I hope we do have some long games, some late games, because I think these two are interesting in that regard there as well. But especially the early game, I really want to see how they both open.
Yeah, I really am looking forward to that as well. Soma has really great planning. But Bisu is like, his Zealot movement is just different from everyone else's. His Corsair play is the best. I mean, he basically invented it anyways. He's actually maybe the most important player strategically in the entire history of this game. The game is like, what, 26 years old right now, 27 years old? He's literally like the most important player as far as developing the metagame.
Well, he basically pushed the whole matchup to a different level. I think it would have taken a long time if you had a bunch of other Protosses that had to lab this out, but he basically came out, first of all, learned how to fast expand safely and win, but second of all, learn how to basically pressure and attack and punish while doing that. One of the big dilemmas for Protosses was that if you fast expand, you're basically playing single player and trying not to get overwhelmed. You really give the map up to Zerg, but Bisu showed how to not do that. He knew exactly how to continue to trickle out across the map and attack and get in their face. And if the Zerg overmade, the Zerg got too aggressive or too defensive and made too many units, he just withdraws and continues to make probes and tech up. And he really mastered this in a way that, I like what you said, Tastosis. In some ways, he may be, as far as strategic evolution in StarCraft historically, maybe the most important person, because PvZ was probably the most problematic matchup in the very early first few years of the game, because Protoss could not win if they couldn't fast expand. It started out with 2-gate Zealots into 1-gate gas, Zealot Corsair, weird stuff like that. And the reality is Zerg's always found a way around it. But Bisu did manage to eventually pull through and make it look almost too strong for Protoss.
Yeah. He really is kind of the father of the correct way to play Corsairs. Corsairs were just like a support unit before a lot of the time, and he kind of centralized them as the backbone of early game Protoss for Zerg. And he's still the best Corsair user. I don't think anyone would argue with that. The guy does not throw away his Corsairs. He does not let them just die at any point, so it's harder to go mute his later game against him. He's just God, man. He's such a god. And I've said this a million times, but I'll say it again. Back when I first moved to Korea, I used to go around with a video camera and get a lot of behind the scenes with pro gamers. And I've watched basically all the top pros from that old era of 2008, 2009 play. And it was standing behind people, Bisu was the most impressive I ever saw play the game. Just watching his screen move, the way he juggles everything. And the thing is, the next Protoss was like rank 70 for impressiveness. Like, he is just a different level.
Well, he was... I think the balancing act is hard to appreciate in PvZ, what you need to be doing, because when you're pressuring, you have like 1 or 2 units doing it, right? You've got 1 or 2 Zealots or a DT or, a few Corsairs, but if you bungle that, you just lose total control. So he seems to be very good at basically staying back and teching. And in PvZ, you can't really miss a single beat in your build order. I guess that's true for all the matchups, but, Protoss, they've got to get Storm out. They've got to get the Robo out with the Observers. They've got to get Dragoon Range out. They really can't miss a single beat back at home, but that's really challenging when you're also doing pressure play like this. And Bisu is just so good. His Corsairs are always moving. So yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. But again, I think Soma is a really, really smart player early on.
Yes.
And we're going to see, especially in the first maybe 2 or 3 games, how exactly Bisu wants to approach this, because these guys have faced off many times in ASL before and have made for great games. They know each other very well. They obviously play in competitive online matches all the time, so they know each other in and out. But now it matters more than ever, guys. This is the second day here of the round of 4. The winner of this best of 7 goes up against Snow to go to the finals here of the ASL Season 20. Okay, we've got Soma here in the top and Bisu in the bottom. Both players on the left side of the map. And I want to see, you know, will Bisu go for the Forge expand? This is a map where you can cannon rush. Although, to be honest, I feel like we don't see Bisu cannon rush very often, if almost ever.
No.
Kind of the opposite of best. Or are we going to see the Gateway expand, which I think Bisu probably does more than pretty much any other Protoss now. You know, it's funny because he's known for advancing the Forge expand play and making it work back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in like 2007, 2006. But really in the modern era, he's kind of moved past that. He seems to... Oh, we love you too. Nice Mutalist.
And Muta's ROP. Thank you for pointing that out.
But, you know, the truth is nowadays with Bisu, he tends to almost exclusively go for gateway pressure.
Yeah. Well, that plays towards his strength. You know, I tried to describe it in his match against Larva. There's like hidden things in the way that you move units where you can apply pressure just by moving units correctly. And I feel like he does that aspect of Zealot pressure better than all the other Protosses. I think Mini is the only one even close to him in that regard, but like just the way he moves them, it's not even about microing and kiting lings and stuff. You know, obviously that's part of it, and how to target drones, that's part of it. But really, just like, I don't know, it's this hidden thing that's really, really hard to describe about the way that he does this to gain an advantage. Because that's a tricky thing about playing against Zerg, and a tricky thing about playing Zerg as well. Don't forget, drones and units come from the same larva. So much of the game is trying to pressure Zerg, and Zerg trying to eke out drones whenever they can.
Yeah, it's funny because it's been so played out so many times, and people are always finding out new tricks or new angles, or, you know, you'll have periods where the gateway opening happens. If they're cross spawn, they'll go, oh, we don't even commit at all. We actually cancel the Zealot and make a Nexus, or okay, we still make 2 Zealots and then a Nexus later. I've seen a whole bunch of different iterations. I've seen different guides with pros having different ideas. So this game, he is going to send the first Zealot out, and someone's doing something very, very normal, which is just making 4 Lings. 4 Lings is the bare minimum. If you see 2 Lings come out, then you want to keep applying pressure and sending these out. And then, to make sure that you're safe, what Protosses do is they have 1 probe and a Zealot block the ramp, and they have 1 Zealot basically guard the pylon and the gateway as the 3rd Zealot is going to pop out.
Yeah, we've seen this dance many, many times. Soma goes towards the ramp there. You know, space ramps are just a little bit more wide, so sometimes there's a little bit of wiggle room, but he decides to turn around and just runs out those Lings. Doesn't want to take too much damage on them in this early game.
So we see some probe harass coming in here. And right now, you still don't know what kind of game this is. It could be a layer coming, could be Link Speed being made even right now. It could be a den starting. But you need to make sure that you know whether or not the den's there. If the den does go down, then you know you're in a very specific type of game. Hold on, the Lings are going to try to run through here. Now notice how the probe is far back, the Zealot's up front, but they both block. Because he wants to make it impossible for more than 1 Ling to hit that probe. So the placement's very perfect. And a layer is going to go down.
All right, so layer and 3 hatch. The probe is still alive, so he's got good intel as far as that goes. Looks like a very standard opener on both sides so far. Nothing too crazy, nothing out of the ordinary. The Forge, of course, is in the main base. He's just making sure that he's not going to lose any of his upgrades. I think that's something we'll probably see repeatedly here today from Bisu. But yeah, I like that we're opening with just kind of a standard game on a pretty standard map of Radion.
Yeah, nobody's deviated from the norm. We do have the Stargate coming down. And, you know, we have that, you know, with the Forge being saved, like you were saying, Tastosis, the upgrades can't be picked off here. And this is looking like a very textbook game. So right now it feels almost like it's feeler builds on both sides. Nobody trying to pull the rug out from the other. Nobody trying to blindside the other. Instead, we're just going to develop into a macro game.
And I wonder if we're going to see the double Stargate play at all. Because, of course, that's been developing a lot in the metagame. I don't feel like this is a good situation for it. Like, even though it's like a quick spire and everything, like, Soma doesn't seem to me to be someone where the double Stargate is going to be particularly good against him. I think he's more thought out on how to counter strategies than most of the other Zergs. It doesn't feel like Soma uses a lot of feel during the game. I feel like he's got really good decision trees and very good understanding of what his goals are and his priorities.
To go on the point that you were making earlier, Tastosis, there are builds now where you'll go for no Stargate, like you'll go for Zealot speed really fast or a DT really fast, and then go double Stargate later.
Yeah.
So that's not happening here, but we should keep that in mind. It's kind of a way to like bait them into going for mutas and then just hard countering it and shutting it down. In this game, by the way, Soma got a layer, but he also got a den.
Okay.
And he is getting the Spire here, so it's one of these games where I don't know if the den was just for optics, like if that gets scouted, if you get up there, you go, oh god, it's a Hydra Rush or something. But he is going for a second gas on his 3 bases, so he's definitely teching up, into air. He's going to be somewhat committed. I don't think that, well, one thing about Soma, I think he makes mutas more in this matchup than anybody else. Is that true? Him and Larva, maybe?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Larva is technically the muta king in the matchup, but yeah, I think Soma does make mutas really, really regularly. I'd actually add True to that as well. True almost never has a game without a lot of mutas in it, but yeah, Soma, I think, much more than some of these other guys, like much more than Queen or Sulky, for instance.
So he's getting air weapons, and this is probably the most common build that we see Bisu do, complete all the way up to the second gateway at the natural. Is he likes +1 attack Zealots and +1 attack Corsairs off of a fast expand build. And he'll get a Templar Archives. He makes a second gateway in the natural because if things got out of control with mutas, you can morph an Archon safely in your nat. But yeah, I think, one thing about Bisu, he does do a lot of the same builds. And this is just a strong way to play. It doesn't have any obvious weaknesses. Now, Soma's going to try to come in here and shut this down. There's only one cannon here. I can't believe this. He
did he just get Ogres or Gamer? My God, what is this?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because we watched and he saw the Scourge coming and committed onto the mutas. So he must have miscalculated somehow. And I've seen this with Bisu sometimes, and it's really weird, where it looks like what he's doing is wrong, and then he wins. But this is clearly not one of those games. So he is going to counter with the Zealots. And I don't know how much is back here, but this feels like it's a lot of Zealots, man.
Yeah.
Like, the drones are going to block, but there's not even that many drones to help out.
He's even got the +1 on them, of course, with those legs, so going to be able to shred these Zerglings. But the mutas are taking out his Nexus. Now, luckily, he does have the 2 gates down at the natural, but when you see someone making Dragoons to clear mutas, you know they're in trouble.
Yeah, well, there's nothing worse. You have to get Dragoons here because there's just nothing else that fights air. And Dragoons, they don't counter mutas.
No.
They're tanky, so they don't die right away, but, they're not great. So he's going to send his Corsair back. Now, +1 is done, but who cares, right? I mean, there's not enough Corsairs in the game for this to matter, but yeah. Just real quick here, he targeted the mutas. He knew the Scourge were coming in here, and he might do that because he knows that the Corsairs don't have enough to to 2-shot the Scourge, but kind of a curious moment. Now, he's still fighting back, and I mean, 2 mutas, look, I mean, if you have 2 more Dragoons that pop out, you can start to really fight this off.
But look at this, more Mutalisks coming down. I think Soma has played this just correctly. I'm really surprised that he was able to jump on the cannon like that and clear those Corsairs quickly enough. And I think this is a great first game for Soma in this series. This is definitely not something Bisu had anticipated.
Yeah. Well, I think, Bisu never really loses like this. And usually what keeps you safe in a moment like this is a second cannon. A battery can help as well, but you generally don't see that made because, you can't get value out of a battery the whole game like you can with that. And with the Nexus dying, I do not blame Bisu if he taps out.
There's not much left here. It's just...
You also don't... You don't have any room in your natural to remake your infrastructure either. So it's like, even if you're like kind of doing okay and you've got a lot of probes alive, it's still hard to make this work.
And look at that, the Mutas just fighting the Corsairs anyways. Really, Soma can do anything at this point. He could make Hydras at home and be totally fine. He could expand again. There's no way for a Beast to put on any pressure, so I do think we're going to see him tap out here momentarily. It doesn't, I mean, Soma's like younger than him too and has a good mentality, so I don't even think you can tire him out or something. You know, I don't see any world in which staying in this game any longer helps Bisu.
Kind of crazy to see Bisu taken out by the the Ogre Zerg gamer move, as we call it. You know, the mass Muta Scourge kind of blindsiding the Protoss and then throwing him out of his own main base. So Bisu is still fighting. He is going to try to remake this. I don't think there's a world where he can stabilize, but maybe Soma overextends with the Mutas.
Yeah, I guess like if he tries to kill him in the natural over the cannons or something, but look at this, goes after these Dragoons. You know, there's only a couple Corsairs here, so those aren't going to help all that much. Look at this, even trying to kill off that cannon a little bit. In the meantime, back at home, you know, Soma's got 50% more supply, even more than that. Making a few extra units, making a few extra drones. He looks completely unbeatable from this spot. I'm really surprised that Bisu is trying to recover this game, honestly.
Can he fit a Nexus there? That cannon looks like it's low.
It kind of does look like
it's
low. Yeah.
Okay,
oh
it is
God.
low. Okay, wow.
Oh, dude. I wouldn't have killed that cannon. I would have left.
I would have left.
I'd be like, no, it wasn't blocking. No, you're wrong.
I would have argued with Castor Park when they asked me, like, no, you're an idiot. This is not blocked.
No, it fit.
Too. I know what I'm doing.
But I mean, should I make that Nexus? Really? Like, I'm not going to come back in this game.
You guys want to cast that game? I mean, come on. So the Scourge are chasing him down. Now, with really good control, you can finesse this, but, you know, the Scourge can zone you out so bad. I can't believe he's in this game still. Yeah. I'm not trying to be mean, but, like, that's wild. This is a best of 7.
I feel like he's just hoping Soma stays on Mutas and tries to kill with that, and he might be thinking, like, oh, you know, if I suddenly get a huge tempo advantage with the Corsairs, it becomes a somewhat playable game. But there's Hydras being made right now. Like, if he had vision, he would leave the game.
Okay. It almost looked like it worked, too, when he just committed down onto the Mutas, you know. I mean, it's funny. He's going to potentially lose the Stargate if another wave of Mutalisks come in here. And so that's what's happening. He's just going to keep targeting this down. He knows the Dragoons don't have enough shots left. Oh, hold on.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
One Muta shot from death. One shot from death. So Bisu's game is going according to plan.
It's brutal watching this all pan out like this. But, you know, you got to be ready to protect your main. Like we said earlier, you know, at the start of the series, we're really looking at the early game the most. GG. Because both these guys are the strongest in their respective matchup for PvZ in the early game. No one's as good early on as Bisu is PvZ. No one comes close to Soma early game ZVP. Maybe Sulky sometimes, but Sulky seems to be a lot more passive in the early game compared to Soma. Soma's a very in-your-face player.
Yeah. Definitely would agree with that. I think he does have the most complete early game. And, yeah, Bisu, Mini's the only guy that kind of begins to approach the way that he plays, but it is a bit different. So Soma takes map 1. This game is definitely not indicative of how this series is going to look, though. It's not like Soma's just going to catch him off guard with Ogre Zerg Gamer over and over. I remember when you first described this, it was so funny. It's like you fly in with the Mutas, and then the Scourge come while you target cannons.
You just lose everything. You go, I guess you're better than me. Like, I wish I could scout you the way you could scout me.
Yeah.
Look at this. He targets it, and I guess at this moment, the idea is he wants to snowball the damage.
Yeah.
By the way, when you see this coming in, you want to make like 4 or 5 cannons, like spread out in your main. Mutas and Scourge don't have good vision. I'm not saying Soma would have lost to this, but
yeah.
You know, if you just have a spread of cannons, maybe you can recover, and then you have to start Dragoons at the 2 gateways. But, you know, can you really blame Soma for doing that? Chills, Artosis, chills.
Oh, man. I love these
chill
memes.
It's so funny. But yeah, I mean, the mains are close together. It's a short travel distance. Why not pounce in the main? And that means Soma's up 1-0. We're taking a short break. Coming up next is the map dominator.
For esports pros, awareness is essential. That's why the Black Shark V3 Pro is tuned in to what matters most. A quantum leap in speed for instant audio response. Full range clarity that carries every shot call. Advanced ANC to eliminate all distractions. And crisp, clean sound that captures key audio cues. Made for the best. Made for who you can be.
오늘은 4강 진출에 성공한 박상현 선수와 함께합니다. 어서 오세요.
안녕하세요.
축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
네, 천혁이의 돌아온 박상현 이번 시즌 4강에 올라갑니다.
너무 빨리 끝났어요.
길게 간 게임이 없어서
아,
좀 재미면에서 떨어진 것 같아서 좀 그게 좀 아쉽네요.
그래도 또 팬분들은 다 좋아하실 것 같습니다.
아.
저희가 키워드를 몇 개를 준비를 했습니다. 혹시 예상이 좀 가시나요?
이걸 어떻게 아셨지? 이거는 예상이 가는데요. 그리고
뭘까요?
결혼 기념일.
네.
이걸 어떻게 아셨을까?
혹시 나왔으면 하는 키워드들이 있을까요?
구글 플레이 나왔으면 좋겠어요.
왜요?
많은 스폰서 기업들을 봤지만
네.
이렇게 화끈한 기업은 못 봤거든요.
오, 너무 좋아하실 것
그리고 이제
같아.
구글 플레이가 계속 ASL 후원해줬으면 좋겠다는 마음에서
네.
구글 플레이 나왔으면 좋겠어요.
다른 분들은 뭐
네.
포인트를 주지 않을까 약간 이렇게. 그러면은 한번 돌려볼게요.
돌려 돌림판.
진행까지. 온 키워드가 나왔는데 이제 시즌이 진행되는 동안 팬들이 잘 알지 못할 만한 부분 중에서
네.
좀 개인적으로 힘들었던 점이 있는지 아니면
제대하고 하루하루 행복해가지고.
제대가 사람을 행복하게 만들어주는
당연하죠. 한번 시즌 중에 힘든 게 16강 때 정말 힘들었어요. 재호 형도 있고 홍구도 있고 영웅이 형도 다 잘하는 사람들이다 보니까
네.
부담감이 너무 심했거든요. 전날부터 밥이 잘 안 들어가더라고요. 그래서 이제 대회 당일날도 아무것도 안 먹었는데도 긴장하니까 배가 아픈 거예요.
아팠어요.
네, 배가 아팠어. 소화불량까지 와가지고.
네. 결국에는 그 어느 정도의 긴장감이 좋은 결과로 만들어주셨네요. 아니 그래도 긴장감은 힘들다. 배 아픈 건
맞습니다.
힘들다.
네.
그리고 시즌 중에 겪었던 일 중에서
네.
재미있거나 개인적으로 기억에 남는 일이 있으신가요?
매번 이제 직관 와주시는 팬분들 너무 고맙고 와이프한테 24강 때도 언걸 못하고 16강
네.
때도 언걸 못해가지고 언급해야지 하자면서 긴장해서 자꾸 까먹었던 사람이 있거든요.
네.
제 와이프인데
드디어 오늘 하신 거네요.
네. 그리고 뭐 또 이제 스타판 아이돌 은빈님도 이제 이렇게 볼 수 있고 장난이고 편집 좀 부탁드립니다. 와이프 좀 안 돼가지고.
편집 안 하실 것 같은데요? 눈을 돌려 돌림판. 따로롱. 마침 이게 나왔네요. 이제 곧 있으면
네.
결혼 3주년이라고 들었습니다.
네.
이제 다가오는 날짜잖아요.
네.
결혼 생활이 남들에게 추천할 만큼 지금 행복도가 어떠신지.
결혼 생활은 신중하게 해야 돼요. 같이 산다는 거는 힘든 일이거든요.
네.
모든 부분에서 다 맞춰가야 되고 저는 운이 좋게도 정말 잘 맞는 이제 와이프 만나가지고 저는 매우 행복합니다.
그러면은 따님 자랑도 한번 살짝 해주세요.
저를 닮지 않아서 머리가 작아요.
그게 자랑인 게 너무.
네? 제 딸인데 머리가 작다는 게 엄청난 행운이거든요. 제가
네.
생각했을 때.
알겠습니다. 그러면은 마지막 키워드는 제가 한번 돌려볼게요.
예.
오! 어떻게 이게 나왔지?
뭐지?
지금 시즌 몇이죠?
22요.
첫 우승의 기회가 이번 시즌 20에서 찾아온 것 같다고 생각이 듭니다. 현재 그러면은 가장 걱정되는 부분이 뭔지가 궁금해요.
군 제대하고 생활 패턴이 완전히 달라졌다 보니까
오.
좀 체력적으로 부족한 걸 느껴서
운동을 좀 하면서 이제 체력을 키워야 될 것 같습니다. 네.
그럼 이제 4강에 올라가신 만큼 오늘부터 바로 운동을 하셔야겠네요.
오늘은 일단 이겼기 때문에 이제 고기와
그러면 안
술을
돼요. 운동을.
이긴 날은 이제 고기와 술을 이제 대접 받아야 되기 때문에
네.
내일부터 파이팅 해보겠습니다.
알겠습니다. 그러면 마지막으로 4강 각오 한마디 부탁드립니다.
저는 사실 우승하는 것도 목표지만 재미있는 게임을 보여주고 싶거든요. 그런 게임을 보여주려면은 연습을 진짜 열심히 해야 돼요. 그래서 그런 책임감을 가지고 연습 열심히 하도록 하겠습니다.
네, 재밌는 경기 그리고 좋은 결과도 응원하도록 하겠습니다. 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
Welcome back, everybody. Soma vs. Bisu continues on. Kind of a funny game we had back there. I didn't see... I know there were so many different possibilities for PVZs with these two. I didn't think that would be one of them in this series. So that's a little surprising. Maybe a little bit of a cause for concern. I wonder if we could go back and take that game apart and slow it down and look at it carefully. If there's a reason why Bisu wasn't quite prepared for that. Because that's not uncommon. You know, the Scourge Muta play, the Ogre Zerg Gamer play, as we call it. Like, it's just a little weird to see him go down like that. I don't know. What do you think, Artos?
Yeah, it is a little bit weird. And the thing is, Soma did get the second gas pretty quickly, but he threw down the Hydra Den, so that might have been it too, because you're like, maybe that's just for optics. I think it was, and I think it threw Bisu off a little bit. That's kind of like the cheapest trick you can possibly do, you know, is to throw down a Hydralisk Den when you're going mutas. I can't tell you how many times In Control used to beat me with that. He just, like, my SCV's there, and throw it down, and then mutas fly into my base. And I'm like...
Literally, the late Jeff In Control Robinson beat me several times where I'd see a den and go, oh, and then mutas would fly in my base, and I go, okay, I see what you did there.
I'm like, wow, you're pretty good, man. It's like...
Yeah, I guess you are a better player than me.
But it seems like Soma just used, like, such a simple old trick, and, I mean, it's a little bit cathartic, honestly, to watch Bisu lose to that.
Well, I mean, it works, right? You see the den, and you might think, okay, well, I've got to better get ready for anything but, you know, that mutabuzz to come in there. Always got to be on the watch out if you see that at the natural. I think that's one of the things. If they're going to lie and place it somewhere, it's going to be there. Doesn't mean you don't react to it, but I don't know. I'm not even sure when and if he scouted it, though. I wasn't really following the early game
he
had
a probe up there. He had a probe up there, so I'm pretty sure he saw it.
So we're going to go to Dominator here for map 2. And let's see what happens. Is Bisu going to gateway open again here? Or and, of course, is Soma going to go for Hydras, maybe Mutas again? Or is it going to be more of a standard game? Let's find out. Okay, Soma here in the bottom left, Bisu in the center right. As we go into game 2 here in this best of 7. As always, guys, consider signing up for the Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. We would love to earn your support. There's going to be 2 seasons of ASL every year, I think forever. I don't see this going away. You know, StarCraft 1 is in a healthier, better state than it's ever really been in. And the viewership's through the roof. We're loving bringing this to you guys. You know, there's so many great esports titles out there, but I think none hold a candle to the GOAT, the OG, the best, StarCraft Brood War.
That is a fact, no question there. I mean, this is it's so entertaining still. I don't know what is possibly wrong with me, but my whole family thinks there's something for just the amount of time I still spend on this game. They're like, that's still what you do. Is just play that. It's been like literally 26 years of nonstop, just like, no, this is it, you know? And honestly, I don't think, you know, there's that clip of us at WCG 2005. And
the documentary, yeah.
Yeah, that little documentary clip. And I say in it, I'm going to play StarCraft probably till I'm 50. And I'm 42 tasteless. And I'm like, oh, I was actually undershooting. Like, literally, I'm going to play this game till I die or my wrists give out. It's like
Yeah.
not even a
Well, when
question. I
you're
just
that
know.
young-
You don't change that much in your 40s, you know? Like I am the person I am, and I'm just going to play it forever.
Yeah, well, also it will be here when we're 50 as well. That's the funny thing.
Oh, easy, yeah.
By the way, Forge Expand here. This is a an early pool. Well, I shouldn't say early pool. It's a pool before hatchery. Not that this is a great map to cannon rush on here. So he's going to come down, and then when you see that there's no hatchery over there, even when there's one made up here, you know that this is going to be pool first. So I think rush distances, excuse me, are pretty close on this map. I feel like a lot of times you have to get a cannon early. But let's see. You know, he throws a pylon down to basically buy time. By the way, Bisu going with a very classic build and one that he basically taught an entire generation of Protoss players to play PvZ with. He was the originator of this, but he's using modern placement. He's got the forge tucked back, the cannon on top of the forge so that he can have the gateway sticking out in the front.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot lately. You know, if you're not making your forge in your main base to kind of tuck it back and just prevent yourself from losing those attack upgrades, really important. It's like one of the most crucial things is like if there's a 3-hatch Hydra bus that you hold, if they still get the forge, it's like, oh, okay, that's makes the position much more playable for them. So we've definitely seen that evolution.
It came late, and I remember the first time I saw it played. I don't remember which year this was. I remember saying it was a mistake. I had never seen anybody place that there. And I thought, oh, that's too bad, but it's probably fine. And then I watched, like, it happen a couple games. And then I saw Hydra Bus come, and I went, oh, wow, it's way stronger against that. That cannon's much harder to reach.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Bisu, for now, going to be going with that Forge Gateway into Pylon Gas build here. And Soma right now, you know, it looks ordinary. He did do something a little bit deceptive in Game 1 by squeezing out that Hydra Den and putting it in plain sight, and then going for the Muta Scourge kill move, which worked ultimately in Game 1. Game 2, we still don't know exactly what it's going to be. I would not be shocked if we see Bisu go for +1 attack Zealots with +1 attack Corsairs. That build order lines up a little bit better if you go Gateway opening versus Forge first opening. But I have seen Bisu do iterations of it where he does that too.
Well, you know, after watching that first game, I feel like I have no idea what to expect, which is that makes Soma's opener even that much better for Game 1. I feel like that's like a really powerful way to play a best of 5 or a best of 7, is to do something pretty aggressive in Game 1 to set the tone. Because, like, greed never sets the tone that much. You're like, okay, yeah, maybe they got away with it. But the thing is, the game goes long. Whereas when you open up aggressive in some way and get a quick kill, that really sticks in your mind as something you have to watch out for.
I love the Zealot tucked back here. And the Lings are going to come down here and try to fight as best they can. And Bisu's going to send 2 more out. He's got them forked out into 2 different directions. So he probably wants to try to split these up and see if he can do another wedge over here. We have 1 Stargate here in the main. He did show 1 Zealot. 2 Zealots to the Overlord, and then he actually secretly sent 1 back. So he's going to have 1 back here to defend. Very subtle. And, you know, if there is pressure coming out here, he can always send that Zealot into the main and try to kill some drones. And you'd be surprised how often Bisu gets a lot of kills with that. And in this game so far, it's Spire into a second gas. Now, I don't know if we're going to see a Den right away here. No, it's going to just be another Hydra Den. So this build looks a lot like the build that we saw in Game 1, minus the Hydra Den, which was basically just a red herring as far as tech goes.
That's interesting. If he does like kind of the same thing here once again, that would be a pretty tricky move. Now the Zealot gets in and gets 1 drone kill, and of course we'll run into that little nook and get a Zergling as well. The Corsair coming down. We'll be able to scout basically the timing of the Spire. Will he check that second gas of the natural, though?
Yeah, he doesn't go in there. It's become more popular to just try to kill an Overlord on the periphery and then try to get back. We used to see a lot more people dive into the natural. And so you can always get an Overlord kill, even when Scourger's supposed to pop out and run away, if it's one of the Overlords that's pulling away from the initial scout. He's going to go for a second one here, too, and this is a little bit risky. Oh, my God, he went for double Hydra Den.
Oh, very, very sneaky. Almost
This
the
is
exact opposite of what we saw in the previous game.
Yeah, so this is very rare and very, very strong. So what he's doing is he's showing mutas and he's showing Scourge, and behind it he's going for Hydra speed and Hydra range. And, you know, this build, if this best of 7 might be like a Michelin-starred 7-course meal where you eat this food and then that sets you up for the next dish they bring out. I mean, the fact that he did the Ogre Zerg gamer play of Muta Scourge kill move, and this one he's faking it into a Hydra bust is so sick.
Yeah, that is such a smart mind game here. Like that, I think right now Bisu, like he did make the cannon in the main base. He's sitting back really, really defensively. Will this Hydra bust actually be able to catch him off guard, though? Like, yeah. He's waiting for these mutas to come in, but he's going to notice that this is not a full committal.
Yeah, so he's going to show these, and he's going to run back out almost. He might even wanted to make that look like it was a bad rally, like they got in a little bit too fast and they're going to regroup. But here come the Hydras. Now, somebody might ask, why don't you always do this? It looks really strong. Because technically, Protoss can always hold the Hydra bust if they're just ready, if they played a stable game. So the Hydras are going to come up now. Now, when you go for Mass Corsair, you have less Templars. Your Storm is a little bit later. So he's going to come out. He's going to plow in here with these Zealots and get as many kills as he can, because he knows he just has to buy time for more of these cannons to try to finish up here. And honestly, he's doing a great job. I mean, these are very, very low HP. You know, a couple more Hydras, he might be able to bust this. I'm not so sure. More cannons are going to be made. It's always a little bit scary when you don't have any Zealots here. You can also send a probe out to the front, and as they try to run in, you make another gateway and kind of block them and mess everything up.
All right, well, these Hydras kind of poised up here, ready to try for that bust again. It feels like Soma's like pretty all in here, right? If Bisu ends up holding this, he should have a bit of an advantage.
He's going to hold to Artosis. This is only 4 cannons. This is a lot of Hydras. A 5th cannon is going to finish. The probes, I feel like they're pulled a little bit late. Bisu's so good at this balancing act. The Corsairs, he might even be letting them tank damage here. He's going to throw more cannons down. The cannon layout is pretty good.
Yeah, and I think
the Forge is... It's kind of hanging out in the front. You know, like it is at this angle where the Hydras can eventually kill it. I don't know if that upgrade's going to finish or not.
Man, I tell you, if Soma wins right here, this is going to be just deadly for Bisu's mentality, I'd say. You know, to lose to 2 completely different kind of aggressive mid-game plays. Soma pushing in once again. A DT was made, but way too many Overlords over here. The Corsairs diving, weren't able to get rid of them all. And the cannons are being killed off.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's a real testament to how good this opening is to keep the Forge alive. It's like still here after we've had so many more cannons made. I think that Bisu might be dead, Artosis. You know, a lot of times when there's no cannons finished, the probes and the Zealots just don't do damage that fast. We have Zealots coming in, it looks like almost 1 at a time. And there's so many Overlords, you can't really keep these Corsairs around long enough to kill them all off. But Bisu's trying to come in when he can. Anything to let these cannons finish.
Well, he's trying. Another Zealot comes up. A couple more cannons are going to finish, it looks like. And the Corsairs are trying so hard to push these Overlords back as well. Soma is supply blocked, but there's way too many Hydras here. Even if he's supply blocked for a moment, you'd think he'll be able to recover and get more Hydras than cannons can be made.
Yeah, well, there's almost no probes here. You know, this is barely an expansion right now. He's continuing to rally these Hydras out. And again, this is all based on the premise that Protoss was going to overreact, assuming that this was going to be a Muta Scourge bust again, and then he would be too light on the defense in the front, too late with the Templars, and we can already see there's not even, you know, Storm available right now, not a Templar on the map. Now, he has stopped. Soma is being careful. I have seen games where Bisu looks so dead for so long, and he basically fights back better than anybody else in the game. The guy that came out with these fast expand builds and had to know how to ride that mechanical bull, how to ride that horse early game to survive that until Templars are out. Maybe he's done it now. Artosis, I think he has done it now. The Hydras are pulling away.
But mutas are coming up. This is like I mean, he did lose a lot of Corsairs, which is not super common for Bisu, but I think you were right. He was letting them tank a little bit so he'd have a higher chance to hold. So these mutas coming up, this could be a little bit tricky to deal with, but he has 2 cannons in the main base. He has a few cannons here still at that natural. So, I mean, I could see the mutas definitely picking off some High Templars, but probably not ending the game here.
Okay, they're going to come in now, and he's going to go for that first cannon, and this is going to force an Archon to morph. I'm surprised he actually didn't go for the Templars maybe a little bit sooner, but he seems to know the right moves to disarm this. There's nothing here to protect this. Remember, the probe count is so low.
And look
we already saw these probes die to the Hydras. Go ahead, Tastosis.
Look at how he's keeping the mutas over the probes. So if you want to storm him, you're going to storm your probes as well. Very smart move there. But Bisu does get a pretty decent storm as they fall behind just slightly. The Archon is there as well. So I think he technically holds on here.
And right now, Zerg is locked into mid-game tech, by the way. I don't think a Hive started. I don't think a Hive is going to start. You're fine just sitting on layer tech and basically playing this out. There might be something like 20 probes in the game. There might be less than 20 probes. He's just keeping, you know, it's like a boa constrictor just squeezing the prey. And it's going to get tighter and tighter. Bisu's not dead, but man, he's barely clinging on for dear life. And he does have a little bit more probes than I thought now that I see the natural.
Okay. Here. Well, you said that, you know, Soma is kind of locked into this mid-game tech, and I would definitely agree with that. It doesn't seem like his economy is super, super great. But if Bisu kind of retains his High Templars, can he actually take this game from here? Because I thought he was dead there for a little bit during the Hydra Rush, but like it feels like he is kind of recovering. And I feel like if he were to take this game, like as Soma, you got to be like, wait, how did I not win that, you know?
Well, here's the win conditions. He has to be able to push out and have his High Templars storm the Hydras. And what Soma needs to do in this moment is use his mutas to snipe the High Templars. Now, I didn't see is there an attack upgrade on the Corsairs? Because he's basically got, I think, 4 or 5 Corsairs, and that's kind of enough to fight. Remember, the mutas can in some ways kamikaze onto the Templars. Hydras, I think, can beat this, but if he can snipe these Templars, that would be it. We've seen this mid-game so many times. We always get here in a different way. But, you know, the +2 armor is upgraded. It's not the biggest army in the world, but considering what Zerg's got, which is not even a functional 4th base right now, I mean, he could do this. The Archon, by the way, catches both the Scourge. The mutas have not sniped any Templars. He goes for the first one. He kind of baits out a shot, but that shot still gets some value. And remember, with +2 armor, Templars are a lot harder to kill. They're a lot harder to kill than just no armor or +1 armor.
3 times 9 is 18, so he is going to run into the natural here. He's kind of zoned out the Mutalisks a little bit there. The mutas were being microed pretty well, but very, very hard to kill those High Templars. Bisu has taken a bit of map control, but his army is really small still.
Yeah, he's going to try to kill this last Templar, and you really don't want to spend the storms if you don't have to, because the Hydras are where you want to try to win the fight. Now, the mutas are gone. They've been killed. There's still an Archon. There's still ground forces outside of Templars and Corsairs. He's remade the Templars. He has to re-meet up with this army. It might also help Bisu to expand. I don't know if he's in a position where that is doable, or if you want to just commit. I don't see him making probes either, by the way. I think he's basically looking to try to win a fight.
Yeah.
He's going to throw down 2 more gateways. So I don't even know if he can support this. It feels like he can't. But he is just all pressure right now. He is trying to come out on the map. And, you know, Soma's got a 4th base that's set up far away in the upper left. He didn't take the mineral only. Soma, I think, can still do this, but let's see if Bisu can pull this off. Oh my God, he's gone up to 6 Templars here.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. And don't forget, like, his probe count is low enough that when you see these army supplies, normally we'd be like, Soma is way ahead on this. But it's a higher quality army for Bisu, and he has less probes than we normally see in these positions. So who knows? Maybe he can actually do something here with this army.
Well, you know, when you see this many mutas, you know that basically you have the Protoss made 2 extra Templars to just storm the mutas. And that's one way to try to deal with this when you can't catch up in Corsairs. He's going to come in. We've got to have good storms. I'm worried some of these storms are a little bit late. I feel like you might have lost too many Protoss units in the fight already. He's going to throw these down. Dude, Soma is too big.
I think you're right. Those storms were a little bit late. Like, the Zealots already were mostly down on their health by the time those storms went out, and there's just such a small standing army left here from Bisu now. I think this is the end of the game, Tastosis. It was a really valiant fight back there from Bisu. Like, I was ready to call it during the Hydra bust, but, you know, Bisu has done a ridiculously good job. He's still technically in this game, but he can't really ever expand, right? Like, he can barely produce off his gateways. His probe count is incredibly, incredibly low. And Soma on the 4th base is like, yeah, his economy is actually decent now.
It's a real testament to how strong Bisu is at surviving, but Soma knows what he's doing. He's able to basically stay ahead. There's not a lot of probes in the game. Feels like there's almost like one and just a few more. You know, one for each mineral patch and a few more, if that makes sense. And there are no ambitions to expand right now. Bisu's trying to win a fight. And look, I think that fight could have gone better had he not, had he stormed later. Like, you can't have Zealots and Dragoons fighting for like 5 seconds and then the storms come in. You basically have to start the fight with a great storm and force a Zerg to start to micro and run away. And as everything fans out, it's impossible to micro everything. Mutas are going to come in again, and I mean, look, there's a lot of Templars. I wouldn't even storm that if I were him. Ooh, nice snipe on that too.
Okay, his High Templars are much closer to his army now. I think if Soma were to attack into that position, Bisu could kill that army, but I don't see Bisu quite killing off this giant massive Hydralisks right now. Soma does have that +2 attack upgrade against the 1/2 upgrades of Bisu.
Did he get energy upgrades for the Templars?
No.
See in a second. No, he's still on 200. I guess it wouldn't make sense. He shouldn't be able to afford that. So he's going to come up here and fight. Now, he did get a lot of Hydras back there. The muta count's pretty low. There's not a lot of surface area to micro this. Oh, my God. There are some really juicy spots to hit here. Not a great storm. He's going to, once again, I think those are, at least one was okay. But, yeah, there's a much better storm in the back. You want to try to hit them in ways where even if they retreat, they're going to eat damage. And, dude, hold on a second.
That's an insane
attack. Is he going to do this? This is wild.
This is wild.
He's trying to target down that Archon.
Yeah, he's got 2 more Archons he's got to pull up that just morphed. Got to pull back here. I think he's going to get this 4th base. But again, don't forget, Bisu has like no economy at home. His money is at 100. He is up in supply, though. If he kills this and then brings this army back and reinforces, I think the game might actually go to him.
Yeah, no, I think he can do this, man. I did not think he was going to win that fight, but once he got in that narrow area, it's really boxy. It's kind of hard to out-micro, you know, with Hydras. In the middle of the map, it's much more doable. Oh, my God, he gets the morph on that. By the way, when you have these Archons out, you know, I think a lot of times, especially people from StarCraft 2, assume that Archons are like these powerhouse units. You got to be careful versus Hydras because they can snipe them down really fast. They're all shields, and Hydras do crazy damage. Bisu's going to attack across here. This is one of the best comebacks, man. I really can't believe what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
This is unreal.
I
don't know that he can break him here.
Yeah, well, I think he's going to. I think he has just enough. He has a few units rallying in, too, don't forget. Like, even just 4 or 5 Zealots being added are going to kill everything that comes out of the eggs. I think he's actually done it. Yeah. And this is like...
No, he's doing it.
This is the turning of the series, Tasteless, because it felt like Soma was about to go up 2-0. You thought he was dead, right?
Yeah. Look, he's about to mine out. He's literally... he has enough money for a Nexus. Had Soma lasted like 2 more minutes, the Protoss would have, you know, ran out of gas. There would have been no gas in the tank.
Wow.
And he would have just, you know... He's going to make the Nexus with the last amount of resources. This is the most insane thing ever.
I
cannot believe this game is real. This is so crazy to me. So he just now mined out. He literally... Now, by the way, Zerg has money, but generally when you see Zerg on like these 3 hatches marooned on one of these 3rd bases, it's playable. There's still some tricks someone could try to do. But, like, he wasn't able to remake the Spire, by the way.
Well, okay, so he's got 3 hatches up there. He's got a little bit of Static D. He has this little group of Mutalisks. And Bisu's not mining at the moment. Like, he's got to send all of his probes to those mineral patches. Don't forget, there's only 6 patches here, so this is not even a full base, guys. It's like 50% smaller than, like, a main base, just to put it into perspective. Okay. So
I think that the ground army's big enough that there's not a whole lot Soma can do. I think that there's enough Dragoons and everything else that he can kind of just protect the probes. I'm kind of surprised that Bisu's attacking out. In my head, I think you're supposed to just turtle here and make cannons and then try to fight the Zerg. But, I mean, look at this. He's chasing him around the map. The probes are mining. Bisu, by the way, is still getting gas this whole time.
This
Zerg
is so
is,
crazy.
I guess, this is such a wild game. Now, he needs to fly over so that the probes get stormed. Looks
oh, my God. How many probes are left? Does he have 4 or 5 probes here mining at this base? And he's going to lose even more. Well, I guess that's a pretty thick stack there, actually. So he has about 7, maybe.
Way more.
Yeah. Well, they were all stacked on top of each other, Tasteless. Rain Man Tasteless over here is telling me how many probes are there from the thickness of the shadow. Jesus. But
I think that's game. I don't think... I mean, there's just too many probes. He's producing probes right now. There's Archons surrounding this. Dude, what is going on? This was one of... And I know we said this in the previous series. This is one of the greatest games I've ever seen. I really mean
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
I cannot believe how good this is. The idea that he was so behind... Soma had one of the most teched out crazy openers and Bisu was having to throw away probes and Corsairs to stay alive. And then pushes literally with the last second. He takes the last amount of resources, takes a base, and cripples the Zerg. And here we are now. Zerg has no recourse as Soma tries to attack across the map. And Bisu will get that base. He'll keep it GG, and he will win that game. And I got to say, what a game.
That was the game of the tournament, I think. Like, I loved the Snow Barracks game on Dominator, but, like, that was the game of the tournament because it wasn't that he got ahead and then Soma played brilliantly. It's that Soma was way ahead. Bisu might have been thinking about tapping out, but based on game 1, I don't think he was. I think he's playing every game to the bitter end here, and especially after that game, he should. Because that was a comeback for the ages.
That was so insane. There's shuttle. That was wild. It looked so impossible, and Bisu just kept his cool. He actually got shut down with the first major push and stayed in the game, and there are a lot of moments they could have highlighted. I think this one is perfectly fine. So remember, the way this started out, it was a fake Muta all-in made to resemble Game 1. Into this Hydra bust, and because the Protoss was clearly, with all the Corsairs here, ready to fight air, the Templars are later, the cannons at the front are later. Somehow, in this moment, he knew to keep the one Zealot alive, morph in just enough cannons, he had enough stuff producing, and he didn't pull probes, by the way, which is interesting. Bisu really knows this balancing act so well.
He's up like 20-ish workers at the beginning of this. I'm really excited to see after this comes in, like what he's going to look like as far as workers goes. Saves those from the Scourge.
Okay, so here's where he attacks in. And I think we even see the Corsairs run literally over this, like, hey, attack me over here. He goes for the Overlords. Remember that he's hoping to get a DT out here, too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of outs for the Protoss right now. So he soaks a little bit more damage. Then we cut to here. This was his second big push. Now, when we saw Zerg run back here, I thought, okay, there is a chance because there's not a lot of room.
Yeah.
You know, Zerg want to fight Protoss in these open areas where the Hydras can run endlessly. The first couple storms weren't great, and then these last couple really delivered. And once the Zealots spilled in, you know, there's no Sim City here for the Zerg. And the Protoss army really is quite balanced. He's got 7 Dragoons, soon to be 3 Archons, enough Zealots. Like, you can always fight with that. And he also did a good job pulling the Archons away here. So we're tied up 1-1. Crazy comeback there from Bisu. Bisu really showing why he is historically the GOAT at the PVZ matchup.
All right, man. After that one, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Metropolis for game number 3.
For esports pros, awareness is essential. That's why the Black Shark V3 Pro is tuned in to what matters most. A quantum leap in speed for instant audio response. Full range clarity that carries every shot call. Advanced ANC to eliminate all distractions. And crisp, clean sound that captures key audio cues. Made for the best. Made for who you can be.
마지막 자리의 주인공은 김태경 선수였습니다. 축하드립니다.
네, 감사합니다.
기분 어떠세요?
솔직히 마지막 경기 이겼을 때보다 네 번째 맵 있잖아요.
네.
프로브 한 마리 남았을 때
옵저가지고 내는 러커. 여기 러커 드라. 드라.
그거 이겼을 때가 기분이 더 좋았던 것 같아요.
압도적인 승리를 하셨습니다. 저희가 그래서 이런 여러 가지 키워드를 준비해봤어요. 혹시 예상이 가시는 게 있을까요?
모래주머니는 알 것 같은데 퍼포먼스랑 전력적으로 모르겠는데요.
나왔으면 하는 키워드 있을까요?
저요? 구글 플레이요.
왜요?
돈 받고 싶어요.
정말 모든 선수들이 똑같이 얘기하시네요, 다들.
아니 이게 저도 성공 딱 한 번 했거든요.
네.
한 10번 해가지고.
쉽지 않죠, 근데.
너무 빠르더라고요.
맞아요.
진짜.
한번 돌려봐 주시죠.
할게요.
네, 돌려 출발. 파워가 세신데요? 퍼포먼스 4강 경기에서 승리하게 되면 대국민 이후 약 10년 만의 결승인데 결승전 현장에서 보여주고 싶은 퍼포먼스가 있으신지 궁금합니다.
저번에 안 그래도 챌린지 올라와가지고 지금.
네.
챌린지로 다들 뭐라고 해요.
아니 근데 별로 안 신나셨더라고요. 저는 혼자 앞에서 되게 신나게 했는데
아니 전 부끄러워가지고 못 봐요. 근데 이런
너무 부끄러워요. 그래도 우승하면 퍼포먼스 하셔야 될 거 아니에요.
제가 옛날에 프로게이머 때 프로리그 결승 우승하고 나서 이제 누운 적이 있거든요.
땅에 누웠습니다. 와, 진짜요?
이번에도 우승하면
오, 눕는 퍼포먼스를.
네, 그 중앙에 다 누워가지고 후련하다. 우승했구나 이런 걸 한번 느껴보고 싶어요.
볼 수 있을지 한번 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다. 한 번 더 돌려주시죠.
네.
네.
뭐야?
모래주머니. 예상하신 대로 이제 창모드가 사실은 모래주머니가 아니었나 싶을
네.
정도로 변경 이후에 성적이 좋아졌다는 평이 많습니다.
네.
어떻게 생각하시나요, 본인은?
집이랑 대회장이랑 좀 바뀔 수 있잖아요.
네.
마우스 감도라는 게. 바꾸니까 딱 똑같더라고요. 8강까지 진짜 잘 풀린 것 같아요, 그게.
그렇다면 현재 고집하고 있는 부분 중에서는 또 성적을 위해 고려할 만한 부분이 있으실까요, 따로?
단축키를 바꾸라고 하더라고요. 잘 모르겠어요.
아.
지금은 되게 잘 돼가지고
네.
뭐 굳이 바꿔야 될 게 있나 생각이 들더라고요.
지금 그대로 가는 게 가장 좋을 것 같다고 생각하시는군요.
네.
알겠습니다. 그리고 다음으로 사실 저는 이게 좀 궁금해가지고
네.
질문을 한번 드려봐도 될까요?
네.
우승 시 데이트 약속이 잡혀있다는 얘기가 있는데
아.
그래서 그 어느 때보다 진심이라는 소문이 여기저기서 돌고 있다고 합니다. 사실인가요?
저희 이제 같은 크루 멤버인데 과즙세연님이라고 그분이 이제 우승하면
네.
한번 데이트하자. 아니 그렇게 하자고 하셨는데
네네네.
모르죠. 그게 또 방송으로 그러시는 걸지도 그냥 뭐 그게 이제 동기부여의 일부분
너무 좋아하시는 거 아니에요, 근데?
기대되긴 하잖아요.
어느 정도 사실은 맞았던 것 같습니다. 이제 4강 대진이 완성이 됐잖아요.
네.
4명 모두가 우승을 아직 한 번도 해보지 못한 선수들로 구성이 됐다 보니까
맞다.
그쵸?
맞네. 맞아요.
그리고 황병영 선수를 제외하고는 또 나머지 3분은 준우승 경험은 있습니다.
맞아요.
그래서 사실 4명이 전부 다 우승이 정말 간절할 것 같아요. 이번 4강에서.
네.
4강에 대한 각오를 한마디 부탁드리겠습니다.
짭제한테 근데 전역하고 8강에서 한번 떨어졌어요.
네.
이제 상현이 전역하고 나서 처음이거든요. 제가 그때 복수할 기회가 생긴 것 같고 방송에서 한 곱이라고 하는데 저는 진짜 결승만이라도 가보고 싶거든요.
네.
한 곱이만 넘으면 결승이니까 준비 잘해가지고 결승 가보도록 하겠습니다.
알겠습니다. 기대해보도록 하겠습니다. 김태경 선수였습니다. 축하드립니다.
네, 감사합니다. 감사합니다.
I'm so excited that we are just getting started. These games have been so good.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed with how Soma's opening. It's really intimidating. We might have mentioned this about him before. I know we've casted these two together, but he really does chain build orders in a series together very well. That's a whole other skill.
Yeah.
Is knowing you're playing the same person over and over and making game one kind of lead into game two with deception. Very impressive, but at the same time, the tenacity of Bisu, the ability to just not give up, keep fighting. He knew when to cut probes. He basically played the lowest econ possible push game off of 2 bases. Managed to get the upper hand literally at the last second, and with his last 400 minerals threw a Nexus down after wiping out 3 bases and leaving 1 remaining. He retreated, defended his probes, and won the game. Completely out of this world.
It literally was his last 400 minerals. We say stuff like that sometimes just for effect, but it was actually like he mined. There was 12 minerals left in his main and 12 left in his natural, and he mined them and made a Nexus. Crazy. It was a crazy game. I really can't believe still that he won that, and I think it's a good thing for Soma that he had a little commercial break to kind of regain himself after that, because you lose a game when you're on the brink of winning and he comes back. He had 28 probes. Like, what? How does this even happen?
It's one of these moments too, like, that's a pretty complex situation. When you're down that low, it's like, okay, well, do I just keep making workers? I guess the answer is no. I guess he got up to the right amount. Maybe he had enough for just the upgrades. I meant he finished his upgrades, then he said, okay, I'm just going to keep making units, and when I have extra money, I'm going to make gateways with them. And here we go. I'm up to 8 gateways. I'm barely producing out of them. And pushed across the map and won the game. And I love the fact that when he realized he couldn't ever get that Corsair count up high enough to overpower Mutas, he went into 6 or 7 Templars instead of 4. Because he knows that +2 armor upgrade makes those Templars a lot more tanky. And like, yeah, you're going to have to try to storm the Mutas, and yeah, you're going to drop some Templars, but whatever. Just keep pushing.
So well done. I'm really excited for the rest of the series, and I'm especially excited for some of the crazier maps. Like, I think Roaring Currents is map 5, but Litmus isn't till map 7, and I think both those could be really interesting with these two as well. So I do hope, obviously, that we get to game 7. That's always the best. But yeah, looking at the series right now, after that comeback, I've actually, like, it's still super close to my mind, but I have more faith in Bisu than I did coming into the series.
Well, what an incredible play. I'm so excited to see what the next couple openings are here from Soma. I mean, he's really brought out some crazy deceptive stuff. That's one of the rarest builds we ever get to see.
Yeah.
Is we've seen, by the way, I think that specific layup for the build was the one we've never casted.
Yeah.
I've never casted layer into Scourge Muta, then into double Hydra Den. Hydra Bust. Like the latest imaginable Hydra Bust in the game. We've had it where they go for layer and sometimes Spire and then don't use any layer tech or Spire tech and then make Hydras.
He was really trying. He was really trying to make it look like that game 1. The game 1, you know, that's what I was talking about, where you can kind of dictate the flow of the series a little bit if you open aggressive in game 1. Where he did the Ogres or game with the Mutas, he made it look like that again, and he only made 3 Mutas this time instead of 5 or 6 that he had the previous time, and acted like he was going to do that, and then the Hydras come. It's like just very good planning from Soma. But now that that didn't work, what's the plan here for game number 3?
can't even remember what map we're going on to
No,
here.
I can't either.
I'm still stuck on game 2. We were showing it at the start here. But I'll tell you, man, this could go either way. Bisu looking so strong. Can't even believe he survived that initial rush. He looked so dead.
Yeah.
And then after the first push, he looked so dead. It's crazy he could still stabilize and fight back. Even knew when to stop getting upgrades. He's like, nope, this game's going to be decided on +1 attack, +2 armor. We are not going to go all the way here.
Yeah, it was definitely a good call there. The not expanding ever. If he had expanded, he loses that game, 100%. Like, he needed every single unit that he had. He needed the pressure when he did it. Only he could win that game.
Okay, Metropolis. Now I remember. So we're going to go to this map. There's a lot of sneaky stuff.
Now that you've seen it, you remember? Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah, now it's come back to me. I remember looking at this map earlier. Guys, there's a lot of sneaky stuff Zerg can do. Let's see how exactly they handle it. We're tied up 1-1. Let's go to game 3. Okay, Bisu in the top, Soma in the bottom, both players on the right side of the map. Your main is huge on Metropolis, which means drops are really scary. And I'm not just talking about late game drops where you have a bunch of overlords coming in there. I'm talking about, we see some weird Hydra busts with layered tech where they, pressure you at the front and then they just unload up onto your high ground. DT drops, by the way, can go very undetected, and DTs can be very hard to find for the Zerg once they get in there because the whole landmass inside the main is huge. Mm-hmm. We'll see how much of a role that plays here, but it's definitely something to watch for.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Pylon in main.
Ooh.
Wow. Whoa, he never does this.
No, this is a very rare move. Got MC there.
MC too.
Yeah. MC very close to getting into ASL right now. Really high level player.
Yeah. So if you don't know MC from StarCraft 2, one of the OG greats.
Yeah.
And Tastosis is right. I mean, this guy has been playing so damn well. He could be making an appearance here in the next ASL season or two.
Yeah, he's getting very close. Like, he can make it to the finals of ASL qualifiers and stuff, but hasn't been able to push over that line yet. So, looking forward to when he gets in.
I think it's going to be 2-gate, unless Bisu throws a gas down here right away. It's going to be overpool back at home. And by the way, double gate in main has grown in popularity. Originally, it was only Mini that had his own flavor of play. By the way, it's going to be 10-10 gate. So this is very different than 10-12 gate, which we've seen from some other players. I don't know if it's going to be the 3-probe rush with the Zealots like we saw from Best. And, something stinks in the meta right now. If that's what happens, where, I guess Zergs are maybe just a little bit too cavalier about the early game and how safe they feel they are.
Are you looking with this build to counter, an overpool, or are you looking to counter, what does it do better against, an overpool or a hatchery first?
It can be better against overpool, especially if they don't figure out what's going on right away. Let's watch Soma's Overlord, by the way.
Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it can be slightly counterintuitive because if it's a rush, you might think, oh, well, you want them to expand, but actually you have to count in how many larvae the Zerg gets. So this puts extra pressure on the larva because the hatchery is a little bit later. So that's just kind of the reason why that's an interesting question, I think.
Yeah. So he is. By the way, this worked. The Overlord didn't see it until the last possible second. And a couple extra drones are made. Once you start that drone or Zergling, the genie's out of the bottle. You can't cancel it and just make another unit. The larva's gone. So we have a creep colony now in the main, but the Zealots are angled towards 6 o'clock at this new base. And Soma's going to try to counterattack. Now, does he let this hatchery finish? Wow. Okay. I thought he might try to cancel. This is going to be a really complicated game on both sides. And I don't think anybody's going to win or lose right away. But let's see. The Lings come up. Now, Bisu's very good at keeping his probes alive in these moments. When a Zealot gets in the mix here, it's a lot harder to hold, a lot harder to do damage here as the Zerg. So all the rest of the Zealots are going to be rallied back here. No Zergling speed, by the way. No second hatch, by the way.
Yeah, the Ling's coming up trying to harass. This Zealot going to go back towards that mineral line. Lots of probe drilling going on. Of course, when you're drilling like this, you're not really mining minerals, just to make that clear. Like, you're resetting a lot of their mining times. And then you're also losing some probes. So his economy is pretty shattered, but he's just killed the hatchery of Soma. So Soma is definitely not in a better spot than Bisu here.
So I'm very interested in how Bisu plays the rest of this out. Is he going to try to go here and block the ramp? Remember that they don't know what else is going on the map here. I don't think that Bisu can kill with the Zealots, but I don't think that he has to either. So the Lings, I mean, their moment's kind of done. He's going to plug up the ramp. And we're in one of the more uncharted territories of a professional match that we could ever ask for. Because, by the way, I think it's better for Protoss.
Yeah.
But we do have this hidden hatch here over at 9 o'clock.
I think that's Soma's only chance of victory, because if you just make probes and zealots nonstop here as Bisu, you'll eventually outscale one hatchery production. Like, he'll have to make like a bunch of Sunkens or something to have a real chance. Like, the Zerglings are not going to hold up over time against this constant production. So I think that Soma's very close to dead.
Yeah, this is going to go back to one of the older games of StarCraft. If you go back in the history of the game, this is what it kind of looked like. It was 2 gateways, and the Zerg would sometimes defend, or otherwise they'd get beaten back pretty hard. And then the Protoss would basically try to tech up and put pressure on. Now, the problem is that I don't think that Bisu can leave his base. I think he's going to have to run back. This would have been a mistake if he went across the map. Oh, almost gets up the ramp there. Now, in a moment like this, you see just how, awkward it is for both sides. There's only one gas for Protoss. Oh my God, he scouts this. There's only a 1 second base here for Zerg.
This is like, it's such a strange position with Soma going lair. Is he going up to like Spire at this point?
Yeah, I think so. So the old days of StarCraft, a lot of times, once the 2-gate Zealot rush was done, you would go into lair because it was very hard. Well, hold on a second. He made a den and canceled. But just to finish my thought, you would go up into a lair because it's hard for them to have enough to defend. They need Archons and they need Corsairs. They can never quite get enough. And then also be viable on the ground. So he does make the Spire. Okay, so this is going to be that. And by the way, this isn't easy for Protoss. You need to get an expansion up. The whole reason why fast expanding is what you see in 99% of professional matches is because Protoss just aren't good without a second gas. They basically want to just get all their tech up right away and get all their upgrades up right away. It's very different than a lot of the other matchups where, like, you can get this tech much later on. I guess the closest thing it could be like is maybe like TVZ, where Terran are trying to get so many different tech things and just kind of sit back and power. And, Terran have the same problem one basing against Zerg that Protoss do, where it's like, oh, you just don't quite have all the stuff you need.
Yeah, there's actually, that's how the game is designed as well, where Zerg and Terran are very straightforward with tech progression. Like, you just kind of go up the ladder of tech buildings and unlock everything. Protoss, you make Cybernetics Core, and you suddenly have 3 different techs that you can go into. So it's kind of like... Because of that, they really need to get into those techs well, I think, because it's like, it's not the steady progression where you still have stability as you build up.
That's right. And it's important to remember that, like, that's where the cheesiness from Protoss comes from, is it's, like, unpredictable once that tech comes out. Now, this is a big moment here. He made the den. This is why he made a den and canceled it. He's making it look like lurkers, and it's not. It's Mutatech. So the den is scouted down here, but the reality is, okay, now the Scourge are going to hatch here. And he's going to immediately have killed that Corsair. There are Mutas out. The main is naked.
Ooh. There's a Dragoon, a Corsair, and 1 cannon in the main.
So you can fight with a Dragoon, a Corsair, and a cannon, but it's a lot like the problems we saw in Game 1, right? Like, this isn't the fighting force you want. You want to have a couple Corsairs and cannons, or a couple cannons and an Archon. You needed something that can kind of anchor that position. And I think Bisu might have enough. Now, by the way, Bisu Zealots are about to hit the 9 o'clock spot.
Well, here they come,
Yep.
and no, there's no way to stop this. These Zealots are absolutely going to demolish everything over here. Mutas just literally cannot kill these fast enough. You could have 8 Mutas here, and they'd still kill this Spire minimum.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This could be game-ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to kill off that Spire. He's going to kill off the hatchery. This is a Zerg on 1 hatch. Now, the Mutas are scary, but as long as you're getting Corsairs and maybe even +1 air attack, all you got to do is get a Nexus up. The whole early game is still wobbly and uncomfortable for both sides, but when that Nexus finishes and you start to get the Citadel and the Templar Archives and you have a healthy amount of Corsairs, you're basically in the clear.
Well, the Mutas will eventually clean up these Zealots, but the Spire's gone, so what you see is what you get. Still more Corsairs on the way, that Nexus warping in. Soma, having to play most of this game off 1 hatch, definitely not very comfortable. His economy's garbage, his army's garbage. I mean, this should be a pretty quick Bisu victory. I think you block these Mutas and Soma has to leave.
Yeah, I don't think Soma wants to be in this game for much longer. You know, there's an inevitability where the Corsairs are so high in count. And even though, if you go back and you think about all the PvZs we cast, yeah, a lot of times Mutas and Corsairs do win the fights. Mutas and Scourge do beat Corsairs, but that's a Zerg on 2 or maybe even 3 bases. This is a Zerg on 1 base, and therefore 1 gas.
And no Spire. So, like,
and literally no Spire.
Yeah, this is what he has to beat the Corsairs with. He's got 2 more Scourge left only, so Bisu knows this. And, you know, he's just trying to keep those Corsairs alive and zone those Mutas away.
Yeah, he's going to try to slip the Scourge out here to get the kill. Doesn't end up doing it. The Corsairs shoot that down. And it's a very uneven fight right now. It's like an 8-2 as far as the progression goes. Like, it might look like to the casual observer, like, well, it seems like, you know, Soma's base is a little bit further behind than Bisu's, but maybe he can catch up. But that's not how Zerg operates. Zerg needs to have a bunch of bases early on. And, you know, even then, they'll still lose to pushes, you know, when they have really healthy early games. This is a Zerg crawling into mid-game with his legs chopped off, trying to get back up, trying to stabilize here. Now, Soma's crafty, but I just don't see, especially with the way that Game 2 ended, I don't see a world where Bisu can't follow this line to its logical conclusion.
For sure. And in fact, his Zealot even just walks in casually and spots that the Spire is being remade. So now he knows what Soma's plan is as well, and he can continue to make anti-air. So I don't think that the Spire is going to end up working. You know, Soma has to take some risks. He has to try something a little bit sneaky to have a chance because he's so mathematically behind. But with the Corsairs flying across, I think every Overlord dies. Like, we're really getting to a point where Soma can GG. But we were saying that about Bisu, and he came back, so.
Yeah, nicely done. Gets a good number of kills on those Scourge. And we're in a moment where, like, the Corsairs, once they kill the Mutas, can kill every Overlord on the map. And you're going to see Soma locked out of production. Rarely happens in a pro game, but definitely happens at lower levels. And he's going to basically ignore defending because he knows, like, all I've got to do is poke out this base. And it's going to be now me. Okay, there it is. GG. Soma taps out.
Wow.
And what a crazy game. You know, we never get to cast that Tastosis.
No, we do not.
1 base versus 1 base into Rogue 2 bases. Very fun. And by the way, Soma with some really advanced thinking. He's impressing me more than any Zerg in ASL right now. Just throwing down the Den in that game where he knows the main's going to get scouted, because that could have looked like it was 1 hatch lurker.
Yeah.
And it basically worked. The problem is it's so hard to get enough Mutas to actually fight. And Bisu's smart enough to just have 2 Dragoons anyways and have Corsairs making anyways, because he knows, like, this is the hard part of the game for me, is getting my second base up. So I'm going to play with, in some ways, obsolete tech. It's not the, you know, a straight line to victory there, but it keeps me safe. Beautifully done. And again, Bisu 2-gating. He never, ever 2-gates, ever. He's the guy that said, I have to stop 2-gating and start fast expanding, and change the whole matchup.
Well, he's definitely altering his play quite a bit here today, right? Like we've seen one gateway pressure expand, we've seen a forge expand, now we've seen a 2-gate in main base build. Bisu, despite what we know his style to be, is varying his play really heavily, and of course we've seen that from Soma as well.
So we're going to go to Polestar. And I don't know what to expect. It's been a fascinating deep dive into the matchup PvZ here. These guys are bringing some of the best games we could have ever asked for. And we're going to go into Game 4 now. Let's see if Soma can catch up or if Bisu goes up 3-1. Soma in the top left, Bisu in the bottom left. It's crazy how many 2-gates we've had here that weren't just for Mini in this season.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've worked is crazy too. You know, when we had 2-gates in the past, they almost always failed. I thought we were just never going to have them at all eventually. And then Mini always had his own kind of weird take on, like, I think it's like 9-10 gate pressure with Zealots into a Reaver to close the game out. But seeing this new approach, which is basically, you know, to try to get that pressure on, and then to see Soma try to go for the counterplay, and then it to become one of these unique, chaotic games that can't ever be recreated at the pro level again, this has been fun.
Well, the new approach to 2-gate is the old approach, where you bring the probes with the Zealots and you push, which... shows another great aspect of Brood War is that we haven't had a patch since the year 2000. So, like, we have 25 years in a row of strategies that can technically be recycled. Like, this is how Reach used to play. Reach was the best Protoss in the world for years. In fact, there was an OSL where he was the only Protoss that made it in. Like, that's how hard PvZ was back then, before Bisu revolutionized. But, like, I mean, you put Reach into one of these games, he's like, I know exactly what's going on. But some of these newer players, you know, like Soma, for instance, haven't really lived through that era. Where it's like, yeah, no, 20 years ago, this was normal.
I mean, I remember when I first came back, because I had that broken bone in my hand, like right when Remastered came out. But I remember when I came back after my hand had healed. And, you know, I was not comfortable with doing, like, the gateway first opening. So I had lots of games where I went for double gateway. Just because, you know, I was thinking, like, back to the very first, you know, year or two that I started out in the game, and I would do stuff like that, and it would work a lot of times because people online just don't know what's going on when you do it, you know. It's like they've been practicing versus fast expand their whole lives. But yeah, you'll even see it at a level like this. That's weird he's taking the mineral there. I wonder why that is.
So he'll make a geyser here because you give up the mineral, and then he'll take the other one, and this just means he's going to go Speedlings. Or at least he wants Bisu to think he's going to go Speedlings.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great observation, Artosis. Good job. I think
it didn't work, but that is the idea behind it. He didn't have enough time. It takes like 7 seconds to mine or something, so the drone wouldn't have quite been able to do it. But makes sense, right? Like that's kind of what the idea is. And drones have a funny thing with extractors. Like they don't lose their minerals if you make anything else, and also they don't heal if you make anything else. But the extractor does both of those.
Right. It's a funny thing how this game worked out. By the way, we had Ling pressure coming in here. And is he going to try to just run into the main? I don't think it's going to work. This was gas, by the way, before the third hatchery.
I think it was just going to be a Speedling all-in, maybe, if he had gotten that second mineral patch. But I think you do have to rethink it, at least, at this point, because you can't just slip by there so easily.
Right. So for now, we have the drones continuing to mine. And we see Bisu basically setting up. He has started his Nexus and his gas. Is this going to be a core at the entrance? Yes, it is. So he's basically saying, you're not Ling all-inning me. And that I'm going to send these 2 Zealots across the map to scout. Now, he is going for a Hydra Den.
Okay.
But I don't know that 2 Zealots can push up. A lot of times when you have 2 Zealots and you do this, you run back. The whole idea is, even if you can't see them doing it, you know you're probably forcing Zerglings. Of course, the problem in a game of incomplete information is sometimes Zergs don't react at all and just keep powering up. And, you know, that's a whole other game there. But Soma's gone for the classic 3-hatch Hydra Rush. Probably, to this date, one of the best builds in the game. It can end the game immediately, and if it fails, the Zerg can go back to droning because the Protoss has been forced to cannon so heavily that they haven't easily developed as much as they would have wanted to.
People have gotten very good at going back to droning. Now, this is a variant that actually has the Zergling speed upgrade as well. So
right.
I generally find that this variant is like a little bit more all-in. It's a little bit harder to go back and drone. But
it's a little bit easier to hide, too, because you just don't get to scout.
For sure.
But, you know, when you see Lings out like this a lot of times, you're suspicious. So the Stargate is going to finish in a second here. And then what you got to do is you have to send a Corsair through the attack path that the Hydras would come through. We've even seen some good players like Sulky, and now that I think about it, Soma too, have actually moved around the Corsair to hit. I don't know if we're going to have it here. By the way, the Citadel of Adun is in a really weird spot. Why is it there? That's really where...
Did he put it as natural?
That location could be where... Yeah, and that's where cannons could be. Keep in mind, like, when you're trying to survive a Hydra bust, you need all the real estate possible to not die.
That is
weird.
You
know, like, having a Citadel is very odd there. I don't know why he did that.
Yeah, we've literally seen people in these pro leagues die because they had a shield battery from an early Zergling attack, and it blocked where they needed to make cannons. Like, that actually happens. People are very on top of killing those now. But yeah, that is in the way. Like, 2 cannons could have gone into that general area. So that might end up being a huge mistake here for Bisu.
Okay, so he sees it. I mean, is this enough time? Now, the cannons are well placed, and, well, hold on a second. He's going to dive in. The Lings are going to come and surround the Zealots on the outside. Zealots are falling. The Lings are going to run in again. If you don't have this sealed up tight, you know, the Zealots are going to take a lot more damage. You're okay with losing some of the Lings as long as the Hydras are getting kills, but it's only 6 Hydras now.
This is a very good hold so far from Bisu, I feel like. Soma jumps in, kills another cannon there, but his Hydras are getting really, really low.
Yeah, he's going to try... Oh, Bisu really miscontrolled that. And this DT's actually stuck, which is funny. I guess, actually, he can't go through the Citadel. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Somehow a cannon above a Citadel, I guess that makes a wall. Now I know that, too. He can't quite run out. There's more Hydras coming across the map. He's going to use the DT to try to help fight, and he's going to run away. I don't know if Soma saw it. He's going to try to chase it. It's out on the map. That's a very scary feeling for the Zerg because you don't know when that's going to attack you or where it's going to go.
Got to spread those Overlords a bit. He did kill off the 2 Corsairs that were on the map, so not as afraid of the Corsairs coming out and pushing around the stray Overlords. The DT making a beeline up here towards the natural or third base. Hard to say which one. Looks like, yeah, he is going to go towards that third. No Overlord there yet, but it is on the way.
Okay. The Corsair is going to come out, and you know, getting this DT is a big deal. He needs to scout again with his Corsair. Remember, he's not really afraid of Mutalisks. That's not the kind of game he's in, but he has no intel. And Bisu has made a ton of cannons here. Now, seeing the 2 drones right there, you know now this is the kind of game where you could cancel those cannons. I don't know if he's going to do it, but he could. Because that means he's droning back up. He's going back into economy. He cancels one in the back. We'll see if he cancels this one in the front. The Cybernetics core is taking damage. That's pretty annoying. It's going to be 200 more minerals he has to spend. Now, with that going down, he does still keep that forge alive. So his upgrades have never really been slowed down, which is a big deal.
That is definitely very, very nice. New Cybernetics core is going to go up. Don't forget, those cannons are so tightly packed there at that natural. He is going to have to kill, I believe, 3 cannons to make a path out of his base, which is kind of annoying. And in the meantime, of course, yeah, he does. Look at that. He actually has to kill 3, or maybe he'll want to kill the pylon instead. I think he'll probably kill cannons, but we'll see. But yeah, Soma right now is doing a great job of recovering this game. Lots of drones. He has a good amount of Hydras, adding those hatcheries, getting his upgrades going, layer on the way. Exactly what you want to see from a Zerg player here.
Yeah. Soma looking extremely healthy. But I'll give Bisu some credit here. I think he's fine. You know, he got enough cannons up. Bisu, I think, is probably better about making enough cannons than any other Protoss. We see a lot of Protosses where it seems like they have enough and they try to cut corners and they die. But he canceled what he had. The push comes a little bit later when you do this, but of course the Zerg's getting geared up a little bit later here to go into this game. It's also, by the way, extremely common in some ZVPs for the Zerg player to go for Mutalisks after the Hydra Bust.
So true.
And the idea is that when the Hydra Bust hits you, you have to stop making Corsairs. Because the price of a Corsair, it could have been a cannon, right? You just need everything that there is to stop the rush from coming. And so you just use one Corsair, sometimes two if you forgot to finish the second one. But you just use that to scout and see what they're doing. But the problem is when you try to push out with a ground army and they make 11 mutas out of nowhere, they snipe your Templars and they overwhelm you. And when Best is playing, we see him go for a Dark Archon.
Yes.
We'll see if Bisu does that. But I think the Dark Archon, even if you're doing it a little bit blind, I think it's one of the best plays.
I do too. I think Best is way ahead of the curve on that, and I think in a few years everyone's gonna be like, "Yep, that's the way to do it." But I haven't really seen Bisu go for Dark Archon, at least not that I can recall. Whereas you see Best every time Best is in this position, he gets it every time.
Yeah, and I mean, even if it's lurkers, like you can freeze 5 lurkers above ground. You know what I mean? Like it's
Maelstrom's just
even
good.
if it's just a bunch of you can just it's a good spell. You know, the one weird thing about it is your units don't default attack the frozen units. They actually take a lower priority, which is kind of funny. Also, what was I going to say? I had one other point to make on this, but now I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I mean, here come the mutas now. They're going to be hatching. Oh, I remember what it was. Another thing we've seen used, which it's, I think, way less common, but is occasionally you see people get a shuttle, and they just keep the Templars in the shuttle, and they unload the shuttle when it gets attacked. And I feel like it's kind of a neat idea, but yeah, I feel like we rarely ever see it. So we'll see if there's a shuttle that pops out here with the push or not.
Very much a StarCraft 2 move, but I agree. We rarely see it. I would like to, but of course, if like Scourge come in and get it or something, obviously you're in a terrible spot because you have so many high Templars in it. But I think that is something that could grow in popularity over time as well. It's just you have to have a lot of confidence in controlling it.
It might take a couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it's like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. You know, it's hard to kill shuttles. So here we go. This is exactly the position Soma wanted to be in. Is he knew that the mutas were going to come out and kill the Templars. Now, what Bisu did in the game 2 is he just overmakes Templars. So that might be what he does this time around, is he kind of brute forces it, where it's, you know, usually the magic number for Templars is 4. You get up to 4, and then you just make a clean army and push out. But if you know that they're going to keep sniping, you just keep making Templars. You can get up to 7 in a round, and we see 5 here in this wave. I wouldn't be shocked if there's another one moving up from the bottom.
By the way, Soma does have a base in top right, not mining quite yet, and I'm not sure that Bisu knows about it. And here we go. Bisu actually going to attack into the natural here. Only a couple Sunkens to help out these Hydras.
Okay, nice storm there, and I think that's going to clear it up. I think Bisu wins with his push, Tastosis, but here come the Hydras. There's a lot of Hydras coming here from the side. These observers are in a very awkward spot. They are both going to be picked off. More Psy Storms are going to come down, but there are so many Hydras here. Oh, my God.
That is ridiculous.
More Zealot's going to come up from the bottom.
I thought Bisu was about to just run through him like a hot knife through butter, but Soma comes from behind with so many Hydralisks that he's going to be able to clear this whole army. And when you get your whole army cleared like this, like Protoss versus Zerg is all about keeping these high-quality units alive and gaining value over time, but he's lost... At this point, he's lost 6 High Templars minimum. He's lost all but 1 Dragoon. I mean, the Zealots are always going to rotate in and out. Those are kind of like your meat shield. But that's really, really rough. Like, he has to start over on his army production.
he didn't have a good angle for when the Hydras hit. I think he underestimated the flank from behind. But, you know, you want to have some of those Zealots pulled back. One of the biggest mistakes you can make as Protoss when you're pushing is you just win a fight and you keep pushing and you keep attacking in. And I mean, even in my own games, I'll do it all the time. But you want to do the damage, stop, reposition, and macro, and then evaluate where you can hit next. Because I think some of those units were getting sucked in, fighting sunken colonies and drones. And when the Hydras hit from that other side, you really need the Zealots there with the Dragoons and the blanketing of Storms to make that work.
Right now, a Zealot scouting around the right side of the map. Soma did heavily drone up that top right now. You know, during that last battle, he didn't really have drones over there. So now he's got this full 4-base economy. Bisu getting his 3rd base up and running. It's kind of a late 3rd base for Bisu, but, you know, obviously he was going for a big counterattack after that failed Hydra bust, so it's kind of understandable. Although Bisu, I feel like, in general, takes, next to Mini, the fastest 3rds and 4ths that we ever see.
Right. Lurker contains are probably out of the question, but let's see. It looks like Soma's going to try to set one up anyways.
There are a lot of Zealots.
And, yeah. Okay, he's going to come down here. And, you know, he does get a decent storm off on those Hydras. I don't know about Soma doing this. This doesn't feel right. It feels like he's making this fight a lot harder. I think he would have been better suited to just kind of stay back and defend. But, you know, as I say that, seems like he is starting to close in on this position. You know, there's only one Templar here that can defend against the Hydras. And after it uses its storm, it's going to be just Dragoons and cannons.
It doesn't quite have the energy. The Hydra's trying to pick it off. And in fact, they will get it when it has about 70 energy there. So very painful. And Soma, you know, that little contain, I think it was more just to slow the reinforcements from coming up here. Even makes a Lurker Egg on that ramp. So he's just going for a Nexus snipe here.
Yeah, this is a smart move. And I love the Lurker Egg. It's so frustrating as Protoss, even though Dragoons kill eggs pretty fast. Remember, I mean, this game has gone on for 16 minutes and 30 seconds. The natural and the main are going to dry up if they haven't already. Of course, Bisu did still push off 2 bases and win a game.
Yeah.
You know, in game 2 of this, so keep that in mind as well. But yeah, I mean, Soma's really trying to keep Bisu as inhibited as possible as far as economics go.
And the rest of those Hydras get cleared out, but it's 4 base against 0. Okay, yeah, this is this is not going well for Bisu. He is dead at this point. You're not going to have that 2-base attack that works this time.
I don't think so, because when the 2-base attack won, it was as like one of the last Zerg bases fell. This is like a healthy 4-base Zerg that is just, you know, gonna run the clock. Look at what he does. He just runs away. The Scourge are gonna fly right over that Nexus producing. Protoss have to get a win here, and I don't know that they can actually do it. He's gonna try to brute force it, and I feel like the Storm somehow perfectly missed.
Yeah, very good spreads there from Soma. But even if they perfectly hit, like maybe you kill 1 base, but you're going to basically lose your army doing that. Soma comes in with a flank, and, you know, Bisu's going to know this is basically the end of the game at this point. There's no magic to be had. GG, and Soma ties it up 2-2.
Beautifully done. Really nice game there from Soma. You know, going with the classic Hydra bust, pulling it back. And, you know, if I could focus in on just one moment in that game, I don't know why Bisu wasn't quite prepared for the Muta switch. It felt like a very formulaic ZVP victory against, you know, the god of this matchup. You know, where's the Dark Archons? Where's the shuttle? If you're not going to do that, then maybe you got to make more Corsairs? I don't know. Maybe the play is to just make 7 or 8 Templars instead of the usual 4 here. But, you know, the Hydras, it's undeniable how strong they were when the push came.
Yeah. The flank into the natural, I think, was the really big moment here for Soma. He had so many Hydras out on the map. And Bisu kind of knew, like, you can see him kind of, like, zoning them out from an attack. But then he attacks into a stable position, like a well-defended natural. And we used to talk about this all the time when Remastered just came back. We saw a lot of Protoss losses that looked exactly like this. You attack a really turtled position, then a flank comes in, and you lose your army. So Protoss armies do not want to be flanked.
I think you need to have Dragoons on hold position hitting the hatchery, and then you need to have some Zealots over here on the side.
Yeah.
Dragoons on the side. By the way, a lot of these storms hit the Dragoons here, but like there's a lot of Zealots just getting sucked into this meat grinder. You're better off with Dragoons just hitting this hatchery. Remember, if you kill a hatch, that's like 1/6 of their production gone.
It's pretty big.
It's not just like a thing that you could have also returned resources to if you had lost the main hatchery of the expansion. So I think he should have held there, stormed, macroed up, and then you see he has these other armies he could have sent up to reinforce, but don't overextend in a push.
Yeah.
And maybe some of that was the echoes of Game 2 and the desperation from Bisu and how he closed it out in the last minute, but this game was much, much different. He would have been much better served just kind of playing conservatively and pushing slowly and trying to get valuable storms and then going back and macroing once he knows he's won that fight and he's got everything on hold position again.
Yeah, I think your call is exactly right. He just overcommitted with the Zealots into that natural. If he had more of a shield on the right-hand side and was able to utilize some storms, I think he shreds that Hydra army as well and has that advantage. It's too bad because, he went in 9 gates. Like, after the Hydra bus was held, he went up to 9 gates, and you can tell he's going to play aggressive. You don't go 9 gates and make a 3rd base, that's for sure.
Guys, short break. Up next, Game 5 with Soma versus Bisu, currently tied up 2-2.
For esports pros, awareness is essential. That's why the Black Shark V3 Pro is tuned in to what matters most. A quantum leap in speed for instant audio response. Full range clarity that carries every shot call. Advanced ANC to eliminate all distractions. And crisp, clean sound that captures key audio cues. Made for the best. Made for who you can be. love the challenge, I don't care for balance, I'm all in whatever I do. 150, they can't keep up with me, no talking, I show and improve. Whole nother level, I never can settle, so why would I stop, I just move. Let's take it all the way, we work for this every day. I don't play games, boy, look me in the face. Coming for the throne, take the king's place. Pedal to the floor, no L's in the race. If you win front, I excel in the chase. Set pace on them, no they never like me. That's their problem, but they have to respect when we coming from the bottom. What I wanna be ain't coming, now we got the roof down in the foreign. I'm running straight to the bag, I'm flying no witness flag. You could've called this a brag. Blood, sweat and tears ain't no cap. I'm running straight to the bag, I'm flying no witness flag. You could've called this a brag. Blood, sweat and tears ain't no cap. I love the challenge, I don't care for balance, I'm all in whatever I do. 150, they can't keep up with me, no talking, I show and improve.
We are back. We are so back. This series is so good. It's tied up 2-2, Artosis.
Yeah, and we're going to go into Roaring Currents, the most exciting map of the season, in my opinion, for sure. And, like, I don't know what to think about this, because Bisu against Larva, this is the one map Larva punked Bisu on. And Bisu just destroyed everything else. But, like, Bisu was attacking too much. And the thing is, Larva actually, he's always been known as, like, a very smart strategic player. But he's god tier on Roaring Currents. He is by far the best player in the world at that, and he is good friends with Soma. So this should be interesting.
Yeah, I'm very hyped on this map. I want to see how this unpacks in PvC, because I don't know exactly what it's supposed to look like.
I do, Tasteless. I'll explain it to you in a minute here.
I got this, Tasteless.
Yeah.
All right, Soma in the top right, Bisu in the bottom left.
So Tasteless, what this is supposed to look like is exactly what Larva did, but for Bisu, instead of attacking nonstop, you get your Corsairs, you keep them alive, and you go into carriers. That's what this map's supposed to look like, I promise you.
My bad, guys. I do think Bisu is better suited for this map, just being a good Corsair user. Bisu is also from an era where they did have a couple of islands on maps here and there. You know, there was... And I'm kind of glad we're going back into this direction a little bit. But, you know, we've had good and bad periods for maps. Even in ASL, like, remember when Sparkle, that pile of
one of the worst seasons ever.
In our, one of the, it just made the whole season not good.
Yeah.
You know, we've had that in the early days, too. Especially when you go back to, like, the old WCG days. You know, the maps didn't make a lot of sense. And then there were some island maps, and they weren't great for all matchups, but they did make for some cool games, like PVT as an example, or in mirror matchups. You know, they can still be very, very interesting. But Bisu is from an era where there were maps in competitive play that had one or two or even more islands on them. So I feel like he's going to be more in his element here. You know, a lot, and in fact, most of StarCraft was actually played on these land-only maps.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking like your Circuit Breakers, Fighting Spirit. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, like, and there's a ton of other maps like this, just big, stretching landmass maps. And it's all about, you know, are there valleys, are there open plains, or whatever. But Soma is, you know, one of the youngest, newest, if that, you know, even works with ASL, newer players. He's younger. He wasn't from that same era as Bisu. So I think Bisu can get an edge here, is all I'm trying to say. I think he's going to feel a lot more comfortable on this map.
Well, I think it actually is a Protoss-favored map, even though we have Protoss with 0% win against Zerg so far. That 0% win includes best not walling in against Speedlings, and Bisu nonstop attacking into the most turtled positions with Ensnare that we've ever seen. So, like, you know, it's just the games from Protoss haven't been that smart or that good on this map yet, but I think they can be. I think that this still should be Protoss favored.
Okay, he's going to continue to harass this drone. We've got 5 Zerglings inbound here. And I think there's only one cannon. Is he going to get a block up on this? You got to be careful, because if a couple Lings get in, Is he just going to go for this? Okay, no, he's going to back up. I was going to say that would be kind of a weird move from a pro gamer.
Yeah.
You know, to just blindly rush up there. But if you don't have anything protecting that, you got to be careful.
Yeah, attacking those buildings just to make sure his probes don't move. And, you know, the Zerglings didn't do anything in the opening here, but Soma's taking 3 bases. No big surprise. I'm pretty sure he'll take a 4th relatively quickly, too. I don't think you're going to try to Hydra bust Bisu. Like, this guy holds him on flat maps. I don't think he's going to fall here.
Yeah. Although we did have a lot of rushes on this map early on. I guess people kind of thinking because it's counterintuitive, maybe it would work anyways. People might under-defend and still not be ready. And so, you know, from here, it does feel like the game goes in a pretty normal direction. I'm curious about when the Robo will go down. You can go for Corsair into Robo. It was much more popular like 6 or 7 years ago, including players like Bisu would do it. Basically, a Reaver flies out of your base out of nowhere when you have speed lots. And you can try to do damage that way. But, yeah, I mean, let's just see how he tries to grow into the islands from Bisu's perspective. The Protoss can take an island a little bit quicker than the Zerg if they're both in a hurry.
You know, Bisu is so synonymous with Templars that it's hard to imagine him opening Corsair Reaver here, even though it seems like that's what pretty much everyone's doing. So that would be kind of interesting to see. I can't recall off the top of my head watching Bisu do Corsair Reaver very often, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely done it, but, you know, it's funny because when I think of Bisu, I don't even think of the unit, the Reaver.
Yeah, me either.
You know? Like, he's so much better with other comps.
Even Protoss vs. Terran, like, he's one of the stalwart Arbiter users. He doesn't, like, he still goes Reaver sometimes, of course, but, like, he uses Arbiter more than other players, which doesn't generally pair super well with it.
Right.
So, yeah, it is double Stargate.
Double Stargate.
Yeah.
Unshocking. Unsurprising. This was going to be a game where the Zerg is going to have more ground control, but at the same time, you know, if you get those islands, it's hard to imagine Zerg, by the way, expanding to the Protoss side of the map. You know, if it does happen, we'll deal with that when we get there. But, anyways, yeah. I mean, let's see where the game goes from here. And of course, is it going to be a Citadel, or will it be a Robo off of this? It's very hard to go to Stargate into Robo because the Robo costs so much gas. But if you kind of park it for a second, throw the Robo down, and then just go back to double Corsair, you can do it.
Okay, yeah, I do wonder about that as well, because I think he has to with this. Like, it's hard to take a 3rd with this on a regular map, but you may as well just take an island, because you've got the air control 100% if you go to Stargate Corsair.
I think he's making it there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So we just didn't see it at first, but yeah, he is going to go for that Robo attack, and he's going to continue to make Corsairs. Now, most Protosses, I would say they probably aren't going to kill that many Overlords here, but Bisu's so good at this that someone's going to have to be extra careful.
Well, the Corsair's getting some good scouting. He saw all these drones hatching as the Spire's finishing, so if there are mutas, they aren't going to be super fast. I think as you kind of watch this as Soma and you see the Corsair count build too quickly, you'll like, he hasn't really shown that he's 2 Stargate Corsair yet, by the way, but when he does, like, I wonder if he's delaying it to try to bait Mutalisks out.
Maybe. I mean, look at the... So, well, I think he's not
now
now because he's showing these 4, but
yeah,
there's probably some ideas there, right? You know, if you can show that it's just 1, and then you already have 1, and then 2 extra, and then eventually 3 extra Corsairs, yeah, then I think the Zerg picks a fight they can't win. But, you know, Zerg is going to go up to 4 bases very easily.
Oh, jeez.
And, I mean, look at this control. My God, he's so good. He didn't drop a Corsair.
No.
He just splits the damage very evenly. Wipes out a couple Overlords. Supply blocks Zerg. And we've got that shuttle out. And he's going to go, it looks like, to his corner. So he's not going to do anything super ambitious.
Going to go ahead
and... He unloads
and,
1.
Yeah, just take down the 1 expansion here. And I think that's completely fine for now. Just make some Reavers, maybe get shuttle speed. You know, Soma hasn't really shown us too much of a plan yet. Like, he has a Spire, okay. I think he's probably got the Spire, and he's just making Flyer Carapace. Because if the game goes long, you'll probably want to go up to at least +2 Flyer Carapace, right? Because you will have to do something with the islands, so you're going to need those armor upgrades. But it looks like he's going to do mostly a Hydra-based defense here. I don't think we're going to see a great attack from him or anything, but probably upgrading air armor already.
Remember that you can get +1 air attack, but you need a fleet beacon if you're going to get air armor level 2 or air attack level 2 as Protoss. And, like, you know, everything is so gas intensive. Like, getting a fleet beacon is a big ask tech-wise.
Yeah.
Again, supply blocking the Zerg. I mean, it's crazy because it's not even like the Zerg is attacking out right now. You know, the Zerg is just defending, and he's still losing overlords.
Actually, I do want to point out what you just said. The fleet beacon, if I'm not mistaken, is the most expensive building in the game at 300, 200.
Yeah.
Because, like, buildings max out at 200 gas, the Robo and the fleet beacon, right? And then it's like, then also 300 minerals. So, yeah, the fleet beacon is incredibly expensive. Just, it's important people actually realize that it's not like, you know, with Zerg, it's like, yeah, just get the layer and then the hive. You know, it's a lot cheaper to do that.
Yeah, the fleet beacon is painfully expensive. And we will probably see D-Web here. D-Web or Disruption Web, as it's better known. By the way, he's gone over a full control group of Corsairs. He's got this one here now, and he's making even more back at home. So that's really interesting.
Fleet beacon!
Kind of... All right, it's our guy, Tastosis. It is your birthday. Christmas came a little bit early here. I think we are going to have... Say it with me. Carrier.
Yes.
We're going to have carriers.
It's like scout range. Scout site range. Oh, yes, sorry. Well, you know, Bisu watched our cast of him versus Larva. He's like, you know what? Artosis is right. I need +2 air attack, and I need carriers. And I think we will see both of those and D-Web.
Yes. He got his build order notebook that had Artosis' face on it, and he said, you know what? Let me lab this one out. But honestly, I mean, if you have this many islands, I think the carriers are a viable choice. Now, I don't know that you can kill the Zerg with carriers the same way you think of Terrans being killed, you know, by carriers abusing them. But I don't think Zerg can attack your islands when you've got carriers, right?
Yeah. Like, you would absolutely need either a ridiculously overwhelming Air Force, which won't happen if they keep a good amount of Corsairs alive, or specifically Defiler spells like Dark Swarm and Plague. But that's going to be hard to get in on there. You know, eventually Bisu can have splash damage on those islands as well. And the thing is, with the islands are really small, right? So everything's really clumped. And that's where D-Web plus Carrier breaks everything. Like, even if you have Dark Swarm, it's like, yeah, but he could D-Web over the Dark Swarm and then just target your hatchery, that type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And, yeah, it's very different from, like, Goliaths, where you eventually have to snipe each of the Goliaths and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, you could easily poke out hatcheries. You could D-Web whole areas and hit there. We'll probably see... Wow, gosh, he's going to get a 4th Stargate. No kidding, man.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I told you, Tasteless, when he played Larva, man. I told you. This is the way you got to do it. Like, come on.
This is so crazy. I mean, here's the other thing, too. How many games on a pro level has Soma had where he even sees a carrier?
So few.
It's
None.
like a Valkyrie. Like, if I see a Valkyrie in a PvT, I'm like, what is that thing?
Yeah.
Like,
or a Dark Archon for me against Protoss. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. yeah. Like, you never encounter it, right? I mean, you just play as if it's not a thing. Or, you know, anybody seeing a scout. So he's getting the carriers up now. And Zerg, by the way, is doing what I kind of mentioned was unlikely to happen, but if it does happen, we'll deal with it when we get there. The Zerg is just going to stick with land. This is going to be like one of these games of Risk where one guy is just sitting on Australia the whole time with all of his pieces. It's all Soma on the land. And remember, there's one little prize jewel in the top left that nobody's taken, which is that one tiny, quiet island base far away.
That's Hawaii.
But that's Hawaii over there.
Yeah.
It's funny. We're running out of map. You know, there's actually not that many bases on this map. It's been a slow game, and, you know, this is what a lot of games on maps like this can end up looking like, where things kind of become almost like this city builder race of who can kind of get all the tech up and expand and take most of the map. And it doesn't really make sense for either side to engage. And we've got the Greater Spire and a Spire side by side up here.
Yeah, a lot of spells are going to become very, very important here. So first off, it's not a spell, but Devourers give those Acid Spores, which is basically a -1 armor debuff. So those are very, very helpful. We see he's making a lot of mutas. This might just be that he wants to go for the Devourers. And that also slows the attack speed. Of course, Ensnare, slowing down the speed of everything. You know, Plague and Dark Swarm could become really big at some point. It doesn't seem like he's going into that yet, and I haven't seen a Queen yet. But lots of, as the game gets longer and stuff, you know, this is, like, both of them are going to be super resource-rich and everything. It's not that... The map itself, like most of the bases, are low on minerals and gas. But they just aren't attacking each other. So they're building up these ridiculous armies where it almost feels like you have to have spells to have a chance.
So I don't know exactly how the fights are supposed to go in air versus air, by the way. So, I assume these are all Devourers. So, you know, we saw this in the very early days of StarCraft. Air-to-air fights, and they kind of just went away because the maps went away. So we're like back in here. I don't know exactly what it's supposed to look like. I know that if Devourers can get enough of those spores on the carriers or Corsairs, mutas can be very, very scary.
Very true.
Look at that. Look at the Devourer.
Devourers themselves, they don't actually kill things quickly. But the negative armor debuffs, when you get like 10 of those on something, you fly mutas in, and everything pops really quick. But just like a quick thing to mention, as far as air units against air units, Corsairs beat everything for supply in the game except for Valkyries. So, like, if you are 100% maxed on Zerg stuff and then you're 100% maxed on Corsairs, the Corsairs will win that.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Corsairs very clumped up, and the Acid Spores are going to connect. Huge amount of Acid Spores on this army. I don't know where this is supposed to go. We're just going to kind of see who wins. The carriers are now down to 3 in number, and, well, would you look at that? The Zerg is going to chase him all the way away.
Now, the Acid Spore is doing such a good job here. Just ridiculous. Bisu pulling way, way back. And that is really painful.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how you recover from that, because now you can morph Guardians, and you can start to push all these islands.
Well, I think that the main problem here is that he brought his army out and just fought willy-nilly in, like, the middle of the map, right? Like, I feel like shouldn't you, as you build up to this, if you have one Size Storm on top of that as well, it changes the entire battle. One Size Storm. Or any other spell. Any other spell. Like, it could be a Maelstrom, and it'll change the battle completely, but the Size Storm would be best, obviously.
Oh, Maelstrom would be god tier. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you know, it's funny, like, when I saw the 4th Stargate, I thought, okay, well, don't you want the other stuff that Protoss has?
Yeah.
Because, Size Storm, especially Maelstrom, like 2 Dark Archons and, like, 2 Templars, you're going to melt this. But now we see this attack coming in here. And Bisu's basically staying back and defending. But one big problem when you go for carriers is they can only be in one place at a time.
Yeah.
And even though they fly, they're not that fast, right? So there's a world where Zerg just takes the other bases and drops in other locations, and Bisu can't keep up.
Soma, by the way, is taking Hawaii in the top left.
Yep.
And, you know, over here on that right-hand side, second Australia is being taken by Bisu. But the Guardians are starting to help him push everything in, and Bisu's going to give this base up.
I think Bisu loses this map.
I think so.
It felt like we were building up to this climax, and then we had the 2 armies fight, and, you know, we never get to really see this, so I kind of don't know exactly how it tends to math out. But, yeah, Soma clearly had an understanding of even this aspect of the matchup, which is, you know, if you're both forced to make air units, how do you play that out? Bisu initially looked strong, and it seemed like he had a pretty good plan for capturing locations on the board, but he then did not have the answer for the fight in the middle of the map. And I think keeping only 3 Stargates and getting maybe 2 gateways, Dark Archons, Templars, maybe he wins. Remember, Maelstrom catches everything. Maelstrom does not discriminate. It will get everything that Zerg has. And Zerg units are going to be bunched up. They are going to be grouped up a lot of times. And even if you only get like half or a third, a lot of times that's all you need to win a fight.
Yeah, or, I mean, again, the battle that we saw, one Psystorm wins it for Bisu. And if you add in more than that, it gets even worse. So, like, we really need to see Bisu not just make... This is like a lazy BGH player. Like, he's got the base of the army correct. Like, this is how I play BGH, because I do it to relax. I just make carriers. Like, I will not cast spells with it, you know? It's like, I'm not going to try hard on BGH. We're just going to fly around with carriers and try to win. And that's kind of what he's doing, where it's like, well, no, get a couple Psystorms in, and the Mutas and the Devourers are going to be, they're just going to melt.
Yeah, and the Devourers seem to be so high in number. Let's see with the spread. Let's watch this again. He targets, it looks like the Corsairs initially. Now, the Acid Spores also slow down rate of attack, which doesn't impact carriers, but it seems like it makes the Corsairs useless.
It definitely weakens them.
But then he wins that fight. Yeah, so when there's enough Acid Spores, the Corsairs' firing rate's so slow, it seems like the Devourers can then ignore them and try to target carriers, but this fight was very well won here by Bisu, and he's able to fight back and reclaim that island.
Yeah. I think he has some counterattack potential here. He can probably do a little bit of counter damage, but most importantly, he needs to retake these islands. Like, he cannot just sit on what he's got. He cannot do it. He won't be able to afford anything. Yeah, see, he's almost mined out. His main is mined out. His natural's mined out. Not sure how much is at his third base. We haven't looked there in 100 years. But he's got to get these bases mining.
The Acid Spores just slowly go away, right?
Yeah.
They just dissipate. So, okay, but, 9 Acid Spores, that's enough time to probably still have Acid Spores on you before your next fight.
Yeah, I think it's mostly cleaned up now. They don't last a super long time.
Okay, so this shows how little I know about Devourers and how they work. I thought they went down 1 tick at a time. I guess they all just go away pretty quickly.
You don't play enough BGH here, Tastosis. Actually, I'm not sure exactly how they dissipate. I don't even really look at that, so I'm not sure myself.
Yeah, I have no idea. I just noticed it's all gone.
It's not something you see very often. But here's some Psystorms coming out. Great micro there from Soma, but definitely takes a lot of damage there on those Mutas. The Devourers were fighting alone during this time. He's going to want to de-web these Hydras. Good de-webs are going to make a big difference here.
Yeah, he's sitting here now, and I mean, this seems okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the Hydras, as long as they're de-webbed, I mean, they're not doing anything. And again, for those of you that don't know, de-web, this spell, ground units can't attack, including your own.
Yeah.
So air units can just punish you. Now you need to have a couple more de-webs laid out here because Hydras are scary.
Now, Bisu has +3 air attack, right? Like, I actually never did check that, but I assume he must.
I wasn't looking either.
I'm pretty sure he does. I think he has 3 on
+1 shields. Oh, hold on. I only saw for like a fraction of a second. It's 1 armor, and we have to have a mouse held over the interceptor to know for sure. Unless he clicks on a Corsair, we can't really tell. I mean, he has to have +3 attack, right? I mean,
he has to.
That's
let's
the one
just
thing
assume
you
he does.
When you're going carriers. Yeah, let's just treat it like it's that. Okay, so what's mining out? Most of the Zerg side of the map is mined out. So, maybe he actually does win this. Hold on a second.
Well, he can deny this base forever, I think, right? I think he can deny, like, Eastern Australia, Middle Australia, and this base just north of him. Like, I think he denies those nonstop, and Soma relies on top left and Bisu's new base, like on the 9 o'clock, right? And Bisu, if he just builds up Psystorms and puts them, like, I'm pretty sure you can become invincible, Well, if you have enough Psystorms on the islands and stuff, Yeah,
Psystorm is going to be huge. Remember that you're making interceptors all the time with this. So, like, a lot of your resources, like, if you watch Bisu, like, first of all, he's not mining. But he is now because that Nexus is finished, but you get what I'm saying. But, like, you've spent a lot of money just kind of, like, making these interceptors because Hydras and everything else killed him pretty fast. So he's going to come in here again. Now, where are the storms? Oh, my God, it's killing me. Beautiful. This is where we start to see Bisu win the game. Because Storm is just devastating no matter what unit you are in the game. And the Devourers are going to be clumped up. The Hydras, you know, they're not so big in number that D-Web can't just mute their potential.
Well, there's a Hydra drop. He's got to get over there. And actually, with the D-Web, I think he might be able to save this. He throws D-Webs down onto some of these Hydras, at least. That is a big air army coming for him, though.
Yeah, huge fleet moving in. And, you know, again, when the Corsairs have that Acid Spore on them, it takes so long to kill anything that the Mutas are all basically still here, and the Nexus is gone. So I take it back. I thought what could have been a comeback is probably going to be Bisu basically drying up. I think the only Hail Mary play he has is to take this base outside in the front. But, you know, at the same time, I think there's just too many resources in general. I mean, Soma, even with the resources he has in the bank, he's looking good. But, you know, he doesn't have a ton of gas either. Soma's got this.
He just got rid of 6 High Templars with like 5 Hydras. Bisu had to storm everything and make Archons because he had nothing standing there. It was just like High Templars out in the middle of nowhere. Now Bisu is not mining. He can't replace anything. Yeah, I think Soma's got it now. You know, I think the whole game looks different if Bisu hadn't just randomly attacked in the center with only Corsair carrier. If he had just waited and gotten the High Templars, because you saw how much the High Templars turned everything around.
The big question is going to be how many more interceptors can he keep alive here? Because it seems like he can win some of these fights. What does he target? He basically goes for first shot on the carriers, and then he just kind of turns his attention to the Corsairs. Okay, this game's done.
Yeah.
Someone's going to lead 3 to 2. And, you know, I got to say, I think bring Bisu back on this map a couple more times. He looks a lot stronger. I do want more of these maps in ASL.
Yes.
Because I think these are games that are different. They're interesting. And they don't seem to be really stupid for one side.
Yeah.
Like really easy or you know. So I want to see more of this. I want to see what it looks like.
I want Roaring Currents coming back next season. Like, it almost never does when it's a crazy map. Like, the crazy map of the season almost never comes back. But this particular one I'd like to see. GG. Soma takes the lead, 3-2.
Yeah. Got to go back to the basics of, you know, air versus air in PvZ. You know, that was a map that was a lot of isolated islands, but it wasn't like you couldn't have Templars in pretty much any fight on that map. You know, they'd just be sticking off of the landmass or on the island. But yeah, I think Dark Archons, maybe even Dark Archons more than Templars, but Dark Archons and Templars, like, you're going to be good. You're going to win those fights. And then we got to see where does Zerg go from there. We never saw Queens. We never saw Ensnare. We never saw Parasite, which could have played a big role. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think the way Soma approached it was pretty good, though. He lost lots of Scourge against the Supermass Corsairs that Bisu was making over the 11. I think Soma was trying to catch him where he could reduce the 11 down quickly enough, and Bisu wasn't having it because he was reinforcing. So that was a really good play from Bisu. And Snare definitely could have helped against that, but at the end of the day, Soma does take it down. Bisu definitely looked improved from how he played it against Larva, and like you said, I think you give him a few more games there, and he might become unbeatable on the map. It's just he doesn't have it figured out as well as the Zerg players do, I think.
Well, Soma's 1 win away.
Yeah.
Snow is waiting in the finals for one of these 2 players. Soma takes the island map in a very refreshing, different-looking game. Thank you, ASL, for that map. I really like that. We're going to go now into Game 6 here. Ooh. Bisu needs to win this one and the next, because if Soma takes even just 1 game, it's over.
All right, Knockout is our next map. Definitely a map where you have to be very careful about not letting the Zerg get a Lurker contain on you. But it is good against Hydra Bust because of that little low ground divot. So, going to be an interesting one. I really want to see Bisu win this and bring us to a game number 7.
Guys, we're going to go into that game 6 right now here. The map is Knockout. Bisu versus Soma continues on. Both players sharing the right side of the map. Soma at the top, Bisu at the bottom. Quick plug, guys. Consider going on the Patreon. They've got an app if you're on your phone. If you're on your PC, just tab open the website. They got a bunch of great stuff on the website where you can support StarCraft, not just us. They've got Seawall where you can download any replay that happens on Battle.net, so you can get any pros game on there. They've got, what is it, Terran Academy, School for Zergs, and Rise of IR, if you want to get translated pro gamer build orders. And, of course, there's ASL English.
Yep.
Which, if you want to support us directly.
Yeah, BSL as well. Shout out to BSL. It's the
Yeah,
foreigner
BSL.
equivalent of ASL. Great league run by Zero. But yeah, I support almost everyone that you said there. It's,
same. So
it's worth it.
This is where StarCraft's at. It's going to be community support. It's the same thing with the Koreans outside of this ASL tournament. But even the English casting, it's supported by you guys. But, Blizzard isn't funding this directly, but that doesn't mean it has to go away. You can support the people that are supporting the game, and it means the world to us. So consider getting on Patreon. Support us, but support those other projects as well. And I'm glad you mentioned BSL Artosis. I have no idea how I skipped that over.
Well, you live in Korea and never played BSL, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that's why. That is actually the answer.
Big chunk of my year is laddering for that tournament. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you much, guys, for the support. And taking a look at this game, Bisu does get the fast scout off. And, well, obviously he's got to go forward. He wanted to go Nexus first, it looks like, but that's not going to happen.
So, right now, Bisu's doing a great job delaying, and now putting the pylon down here. That's always a great move. If you go Forge, and then you see that they're going Overpool, and they want to try to throw down the hatchery, delay it as long as you can with that probe, and then throw a pylon down. It's a beautiful way to slow the game down. And it only slows your hatchery down a little bit.
Oh!
That's insane. He won the fight. That's so bad for Bisu.
That's crazy. Bisu even did the little glitch where he makes the probe walk on top of the drone, but Soma was really on top of it and got that drone attacking again quickly. And, of course, he was trying to slow the cannon a little bit, but I think the cannon finishes right as the Lings get there anyways.
You gotta be careful. The rush distance on this map is crazy close.
It is true.
Like, you can almost make it draw a straight line down here. I think that the cannon's going to be done. Yeah, so it's going to finish, but, like, you got to be super careful here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is one of these maps, like, you don't want to miss a mineral boost when you're mining. And so, remember, they're both in very close proximity. It could be tempting for Soma to try to go for 3-hatch Hydra again. Even though it's not great on this map, like, the travel distance is pretty short. Pushes from Protoss are going to be pretty scary as well.
Yeah, the probe looking to scout, but can't quite get up there with the 3 Lings on the ramp. Bisu being very careful not to throw it away. Of course, he sees that 3rd hatchery up at the mineral base. This tight formation. It could point towards a 3-hatch Hydra bus. Sometimes we see hatcheries put much further away for the 3rd base, but this one's nice and close.
So the Nexus is going to finish up. And, Bisu tends to be a little bit predictable with the mid-game tech, and I think it's because he's the best Corsair Zealot player in the world. Like, he doesn't do stuff like Mini where he's like, I'm going to make 6 DTs this game. Or Best where he's got some kind of weird, I don't know, timings or he has a very straightforward approach. We'll see if it's the same here now. But right now, remember, Bisu, if he loses a game, he's out. And we know that Bisu looks pretty damn strong if he's able to push here. By the way, Soma nods to the most standard macro play, at least for now. It's going to be layer tech. There may be some plot twists here. Let's not forget he did some crazy stuff earlier post-layer. But most of the time when you see layer, you know at least if something crazy is going to happen, it's going to be a little bit later on.
Mm-hmm.
One Zealot sneaks across the map, and remember, he can both hit this drone here, and he can also flee into the wedge right there in between those minerals.
And that's going to be annoying to clear, but is completely doable with 4 Lings. And Bisu, yeah, just staying back there. Going to come up and get rid of this. Oh, one of the Lings actually getting stuck there for a moment. That makes Bisu's trade even better. That's so funny. Like, even the one Ling getting stuck on the drone for a second is like, yeah, that slows everything down.
Yeah.
Actually, you said before, and I wanted to mention, but you had a lot to say there. You mentioned, like, you know, Best has kind of his wild attacks, and Mini has his funny strategies that he uses, but Bisu plays, like, a more normal standard style, right? The reason, again, to build on what we've been saying about Bisu, it's not that he plays a standard style. It's that he invented how to play this matchup, and it became standard. This is Bisu's style that everyone else uses.
Yeah, it's like he was the guy that figured out we need to go like E4 in chess, and like apparently Protosses were only able to move the rook pawn before that. It was like pretty bad.
That's so true.
But that's really what 2-gate is. Like, it's like pretty. It makes the game pretty hard. You know, once you get far enough along. But yeah, he basically had this kind of core foundational play, and then you have all these other players like Mini, as an example. He's probably the best example out of the mix. But he's got all these weird things that kind of look like this, but they're different.
Mm-hmm.
Did we have +1 air attack on this the cybernetics core? I didn't actually see.
Oh, I don't know. I don't even look at the screen in a PVZ until about 8 minutes in, so I don't even know. I hear Corsairs, and that sounds about right, so we should be around 6:30 right now. But I'll check in a couple minutes here.
Okay, he did it. He did not go for the +1 air attack, but he's gone for 3 gates in his main. So he's doing something a little bit different here. He's going to go heavy into Zealots. And this is probably him playing out the position on the map. They're really close. So a lot of games we'll see him just go on 2 gateways and kind of sit back. And instead what he does is he's gone up to 4 gates. He has like the bare minimum to not die to mutas. But here's the problem. Zerg went for mutas, so this puts Protoss in a weird spot. Because now you have like you have 3 Corsairs is the minimum if you don't know what's going on in the game to have, and now we have all these mutas out. The Zealots are going to go right out on the map, but he's going to see the gateways. He knows exactly what kind of game this is. Zealot speed's not done, but it's probably a couple seconds out.
Yeah, and with that +1 finishing, that is going to help out these Zealots so much. This heavy Zealot style. We've definitely seen Mini using it a lot, including on knockout. And here we go, +1 and Zealot legs both finish at about the same time, and he hits the natural.
Okay, so he's hitting. These mutas are forced to try to fight and respect the Corsairs, which allows the Zealots to do even more damage. I love the idea behind this, because it's like he doesn't really care that much about the Corsairs as long as his Zealots start to get in there and start to cause enough of a problem. The Den's being targeted. I'm curious how this is going to affect the rest of the game. The Den is not like the most important tech, but then again, if you're against +1 Zealots and you don't have armor, Lings are going to die really fast to Zealots.
That is for sure. It's not that it's that expensive, though. He definitely could remake that Hydralisk Den without too much pain, but yeah, he did end up losing a lot of Corsairs there, so maybe a recommitment to the Mutaling here would be appropriate for Soma, just to make sure the Zealots are kind of stifled for now.
I think the Den makes even faster than the spawning pool. Like, it makes crazy fast.
Yeah. It is a very fast building.
Nothing mining over here. And Bisu, I mean, he's still staying back. He's got his 2nd and his 3rd cannon. He's restarted the Corsair count. All of the tech is kind of delayed. Soma's not dead, and he's probably not going to die either. The tech has been hiccuped, and it's going to kind of come out at a slower pace, but it's probably worth it because Soma took a beating. He lost some drones. He lost that Hydra Den and possibly the upgrade that was inside of it. But Bisu's playing with a lot of caution here. I mean, he basically decided that what Soma would do from here is go for like a reverse Ogre Zerg gamer.
Reverse
Just do mass
Ogre Zerg gamer.
Scourge.
Okay.
Yes. And instead, Soma played pretty conservatively. He just stayed back and macroed up. So Bisu's probably overmade cannons. Not ideal, but I think he has to play his hand as well as he can, right?
Oh, for sure. You know, Soma really, really looking to try to finish Bisu off here. It's such a different situation when you're playing against the best Protoss, most accomplished Protoss of all time, and you're like 3-2, you're about to get to the finals, versus you go to a Game 7, which is something that Bisu's going to be much more comfortable in.
Okay, he's going to push up. When you have an Archon here, the dance is basically where you want the Corsairs to run under the Archon, and the Archon's supposed to catch the Scourge and kill them, or the Mutas. He's pushing now. The SimCity's like, okay, by the way, Soma's doing the right thing in that he's targeting the Archon with the Sunken Colony or the Hydras. Because it's much harder to fight this if you don't have an Archon here. And it looks like the Archon is going to go down. But has the damage already been done? Can he already come through here? The Corsairs are just going to tear through these Mutas, and now the Overlords are undefended. Oh, Tastosis is insane.
Oh my God! With the drones are trying to just kind of stop position here and fight against the Zealots to stop that Sunken from dying and screw up their AI, but it's not working that well. Bisu's targeting down what he needs to. He gets on top of the Sunken, gets rid of that as well. The Zealots will finally be cleaned up, but definitely Bisu did very well with this attack.
The Zealots are going to come up again. The Hydras don't have a lot of surface area. The drones can be pretty handy. The Archon was not in the mix. Where are the Corsairs?
I think
I swear I saw Corsairs chasing Overlords.
Yeah, maybe he ended up losing them.
Anymore.
There could have been Scourge or something that cleared them out. I'm not entirely sure.
This is kind of scary. They're just sitting there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he needs to keep doing damage. Maybe the Scourge chased him back far enough. He had to remake a certain amount. You know, Bisu's so close to taking Soma out.
Yeah.
He's so close. In fact, Bisu even scouts 12 o'clock to confirm that he's in the position that he's in. He says, okay, there's no fourth base here. Zerg is super wobbly. Scourge going to try to come in here and hit that Corsair. He pulls it away.
Yeah, Bisu.
And, I mean, right now, this third base is so weak. Templars are going to be jettisoned across the map. And the Zerg is really, really weak when you turtle versus storm.
Yeah.
Because you just go in that little pocket that they're all sitting in and you nuke it like this.
Oh my God. Really, really good side storm right there. And the Zealots come in from both sides to sandwich these Hydralisks. They don't have anywhere to run. Can hardly be microed in this position, but he has a decent amount. And the surface area of the Zealots is not that good. But more Zealots coming up here from Bisu, keeping that heavy pressure on.
You know, it feels like Bisu has this potential, and every time he has just not enough. He's gone up to 8 gateways. That's always an indicator that, you know, the last 2 things you get are the last 2 gateways generally. You know, I guess maybe Templar energy or something like that, but, oh, he's going to drop a couple more Corsairs. But that's usually a sign when it's like, I'm only pushing now. I've gotten all the tech I need. Dragoon range should be done, although it might still be being upgraded just because of the way this game played out. But Bisu needs to be careful. You know, when you get Dragoons in an army with Zealots, it changes the way you push because you can just hold position and the Dragoons will take care of the hatches. The Zerg can't turtle. When you just have Zealots, suddenly the Zerg can hide behind the little maze-like infrastructure they built. And the Zealots can't get their surface area to do their damage. They have to fight one by one. Oh my God, I'm sorry. This Robo is wildly late, which is fine, by the way. I guess I shouldn't say late in the sense that like he should have had it earlier because there's no lurkers here, but he is going to get that Robo tech. I don't even know if lurkers are in the cards right now.
Yeah,
here for Soma.
It's very rare to see Hydra Muta Lurker on 3 base. It's just you don't really have the gas for it. It's like either Lurker or Muta, and he has been kind of going into that Muta over and over again. Okay, so here Bisu comes. He's going to go up this hill, but he doesn't have his side storms right there. He pulls back a little bit, but he's taking a lot of damage on these Zealots already. Soma doing a good job with this micro. Very good storm from Bisu, getting a lot of damage on those Hydras.
Ooh! Nice storm! That's going to make those Hydras so much squishier. One Templar gets caught on the right, and somehow it's not dead and gets a storm off. Archon morphine. Sunken Colony on the outside. The Hydra count is plummeting. I think we may have reached the tipping point, and I think Bisu's going to win this game, bringing us to Game 7.
That is so amazing. Could not have written a better script for this series than what we're looking at right here. GG! And Bisu brings us to Game 7.
I am so happy right now.
Wild.
I can't believe how good this is. I cannot believe. What?
Fan fiction, man.
This is one of the best PVZs ever.
Yeah, it is a fantastic series that we're looking at right now. They're both playing really, really strongly, taking huge advantages, coming back from behind. Every type of scenario you can think of is being shown here tonight.
By the way, we've been saying this a lot, like, this is the best ever. Tell me I'm wrong. Prove to me that I'm wrong about this. It's like every day is getting better than the day before here in ASL. These games are wild. These games are insane.
Yeah.
Some are definitely better than others, but this series has been off the hook. And by the way, talk about a great variety of games.
Yeah, this series is kind of making me remember Best vs. Queen from last season, which I thought was one of the best PvZ series I've ever seen. I believe that was the round of 8, if I'm recalling correctly. Yeah, but yeah, it's a wild one here, man. And just I love the variety of strategies that they've both been using as well, and the fact that Bisu, I don't want to say he took this from Mini, but this is how Mini plays this map consistently, is like really heavy speed zealot. Like really trying to abuse his opponent. And maybe it does have to do with this short travel distance that you were talking about, but we definitely saw Bisu do a very good job here with it.
It does seem like you have 3 Corsairs, and then like if they just went Hydras, okay, I'm going to kill Overlords. If they just went Mutas, well, I'm going to attack you with this, and then your Mutas are not attacking my Zealots. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be the idea, is to just lean really hard into these mass Zealots and try to fracture the Zerg. We saw these pushes. These are pretty rare, honestly, but they make sense in games like this, is you're just hitting them hard with Zealots, and then you're just slow dripping Templars across the map to try to hit them with Storms, and that fractures their turtled position. They can't just sit in between the drones.
Yeah, the Zealots, like, he just kept bringing them up, dripping them into that base. Good pullbacks there as well, though. All right, Tasteless. I think we're going to go to a commercial break here before Game 7, give these guys a little bit of a breather. And the final map is going to be Litmus. A little bit different map here. Quick commercial break, and we'll decide who goes to the finals.
For esports pros, awareness is essential. That's why the Black Shark V3 Pro is tuned in to what matters most. A quantum leap in speed for instant audio response. Full range clarity that carries every shot call. Advanced ANC to eliminate all distractions. And crisp, clean sound that captures key audio cues. Made for the best. Made for who you can be.
stage, I'ma get them. All of my haters turn into a victim. Let off the leash, gotta sick them. They don't expect it, so we bout to hit them. Try to keep up with the rhythm, never lose focus, cause we're on a mission. See how they squirming, cause we're so determined. You looking for greatness, that's the definition. Call them and tell them you ready. Flowing came home back to Levy. You know who sit on the throne and who wear the crown. I hope you get the message. This gonna be one for the ages. Gotta put us on your A-list. I hope that you came prepared. We're ready to win it on any occasion. Yeah. Woo. Let's go. We break all the rules with a defiance. We got it all from the small to the...
This is it. We are going to the final game in this best of 7. Bisu and Soma could not have brought a more exciting, more epic series.
Wow. Really, that is the case. And it has been so close. It's really hard to say who's even favored going into this next map. I really don't know at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 50-50, right? I mean, that's what the whole series has been pointing to, is that, you know, no one seems to be able to have the upper hand for too long. It's going to come down to this one game. This is a very different map. I don't know if it's going to have a very different looking game. We're going to be on Litmus. It is a map with only 2 spawn points, although PvZ seems to be a matchup where people don't tend to exploit this. Like, we're probably not going to have 2-gate proxy. That's very not popular. I don't know. Let's get into it. Remember, guys, the winner of this goes on to face off against Snow for the ASL Season 20 Finals. Okay, Soma in the top, Bisu in the bottom. Both players always share the right side of the map here.
Yeah.
I bring that up because there is a world where, like, if you were going to Hydra Bust, you could go around the normal Corsair spotting path. You know what I'm saying? You could go more towards the middle. There's basically like 2 lanes in the middle of the map that are split. We've seen this play a huge role in PvP and PvT. We'll see if it plays a role in this game as well. Yeah. I don't know.
So something to mention here, of course, is the fact that there are 2 geysers in the main. Now, these geysers have 3,000 gas. Okay?
Right.
So they don't last as long, but that does give you a little gas bump. And if I had to guess which side that's a little bit better for, I would say probably Bisu, so that you can get those High Templars out a little bit more easily. But we'll see if that even gets used. There's a possibility we don't even see that really come into play too much. And as far as the speed of depletion, you know, workers gather 300 gas a minute. So it's like 10 minutes, and the geyser is going to be down to 2 gas per run instead of 8. And that's compared to something like 17 minutes on a 5,000 geyser. So just to put it into a little bit of perspective, there is more gas than normal. And we'll see if Bisu has anything planned for that or not.
It would be the Protoss that would probably be able to leverage the extra gas. Protoss need gas more than any race needs gas in any matchup. Sorry, Protoss need gas in PvZ more than any race needs gas in any matchup. I guess the only comparison I can think of that might... Sure. Yeah. But, I mean, you could get Archons and your upgrades, and I mean, there's so much you can do with this.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bisu, or exactly how he'll try to take advantage of this. We'll find out, though, because if there's a way to do it, he will do it. But, you know, basically, the whole game of PvZ, when you fast expand like Bisu is you're trying to get up to the Templar archives while first getting a Stargate out to just check and make sure you're not getting cheesed. Then you're trying to get Storm. And eventually you're going to close out all that tech with, you know, besides all the Templars you make, the Robo Bay, the Observers, and then all that gas for Dragoons. Don't forget about the upgrades. So you're really trying to just get the bare minimum most of the time. And as far as like attacking units and defenses, and just get that up there. So this might make for some unique timing attacks or some unique tech you don't normally see in PvZ, because 3 gases on 2 bases is a very, very new concept within maps in StarCraft 1. And it's a very welcome addition on a map like this one.
Yeah, definitely makes it more interesting. You know, we're talking about these high-level things, but I'm just waiting for someone to start Zergling speed. Oh, God, he's going to do it. Oh, my God, I was saying it as a joke, but, like, I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if he just railed him with Zerglings, just like a million Zerglings show up and it ends the series, and we're like, oh, that's too bad.
So he doesn't want to have anything to do with the mid-game here.
Do you think it's a Zergling speed all in?
There.
Or
I think so.
Yeah.
Let's see. 2 lings hatch. Is there going to be 6 more lings hatching? I don't see any drones, man.
Oh, you're right. It is a speedling all in.
Tastosis. Okay. He needs to plug this up. Now, he did go for Forge at the entrance. The cannon's up. This is not airtight. There are 2 places that you can... Wait, where the... Oh, no. Of course, it's Bisu. He always sends the zealots out on the map.
Oh, my God.
Link speed's almost done. Oh, my God. He's just
trying to spot
he needs to
this.
go back. Okay, he sees it. He sees it. He sees it.
Can he pull the probes?
This is not airtight.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I think someone's going to win this now.
Oh, my God. Yeah, without a cannon here, this is pretty impossible. The Zergling's just going to run and surround these probes. They're getting so many good hits. As the Zealot comes up, it does screw up the AI a little bit. Bisu has to replug these holes right now, but also not let the cannon die. Oh, my God. Yeah, obviously the Lings against 4 probes are going to win easily. Cancels out that cannon. And that is, I was joking, but, you know, not a terrible plan here from Soma to end it super aggressively.
Yeah. Bisu's going to try his best, and he's not going to give up until the last possible second. But this is so many Lings, and they surround the cannon. The Zealot is going to go down, and there's going to be nothing left to protect the probes or the pylon, the gateway. Bisu is dead.
That is it. Unfortunate for Bisu. He fought hard. He was so close to getting that shot at the championship, but he died as so many Protoss do every single day to Masslings. GG, and Soma on his first ASL back gets to the finals.
Beautifully done. Soma planned that very well. Kind of a crazy move to go for that all in after all those technical games. But, you know, if you look at the wall-in for the natural expansion, there are 2 points of entry. It's very different from when you have a wall-in where you approach from the left or the right instead of the top or the bottom. You know, if you approach from the left or the right, the Forge and the Gateway seal that up, which means you can only fit through the pylon or above the Gateway. But there's ways to block that off as well. And it's a fairly large entry point to the right side of the Gateway from the bottom wall in the bottom right starting position. And, you know, we also know Bisu's kind of famous for setting that first Zealot out. And I think that the way that Soma played this was genius. He knew that if Bisu has any openings at all at the start, an all-in like that will end the game.
Yeah. It was a good plan. At the end of the day, he kind of like blocked the probe from scouting him, and you know the choke is further away from the Nexus than on some other maps too. You should take stuff like that into consideration. Always something you got to think about when you're going to get rushed. Like, are you going to be able to pull your workers quickly enough to block whatever's happening? And unfortunately for Bisu, he was not. He came really close to seeing this. If he had seen those, if he had walked a little bit further forward and seen those, he might have been able to block this because that's such a suspicious place to put Zerglings. Look at how close.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he was so fast pulling that back here as well. But then speed finishes, and it's like, uh-oh, this is bad.
Yeah, you need to basically have the probes pulled as you see the Lings coming down. Protosses can survive this, by the way. But when that first cannon goes down, you're so destabilized, and it's so easy to reinforce. You can run all the way into the main and kill. Or in this case, you know, he realizes the Zealot is going to be overextended. And once the natural falls, there's just no way to recover. The shortest and most brutal game ends this best of 7. And Soma is moving on. Soma could become the next ASL champion. He'll be facing another Protoss who is definitely going to be on the lookout for rushes like this in that finals. It's going to be Snow.
Very, very different Protoss player. Snow is a late-game grinder in the matchup. So I think we're going to see longer games there. Should be an insanely good finals. Snow versus Soma. I thought coming into this season one of these guys would win. Oh, interview.
박상현 선수 이야기 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 아, 축하드립니다.
Congratulations. Thank you. It was such a fierce move, such a desperate move, a move that in the end allowed you to advance to the grand final stage. Now, after returning from the military and 5 years since your last grand final appearance, let's hear how you're feeling. Honestly, I can't believe it. I am getting actual chills. I was really determined to move on. The fact it happened, I'm really happy. It was tough, wasn't it? There was a point you were behind score-wise. You took the first set, but then gave up 2 maps. Losing games that you were ahead in. Being behind in points. How did you decide to continue? When it comes to the second set, I thought I had won, so I just went into autopilot. I suddenly ended up losing and almost let it affect my mentality. I said to myself, don't think too much of it. I just didn't think about the games that have already been played and continued on. A tremendously demanding match just unfolded. The build you chose on the 7th set, the very last set, was that something you had prepared? I did not prepare for the 7th set. I knew if it went to the 7th game, I would lose. So I had to give it all in the previous games. For the 7th set, I actually just got this build today. I tried it and it seemed there wasn't an answer for it. Once the 6th set ended, I thought about what to use, and this build came to mind. Your winning gambit came through in what you showed in that match. You are now entering the grand final. In the previous one you played, unfortunately, you did not manage to win, instead becoming a runner-up. It's been 5 years. What are you going to show the fans in that grand final? Please tell us how determined you are. Honestly, when I went into my first finals and got 2nd place, I did not regret it, because I knew I would advance to the finals again very soon. But 5 years had to pass. Given it took 5 years, I will prepare very diligently and repay you back with a cool match. And the colleagues who helped you, as well as the fans who supported you, of whom there are surely very many, they put all their heart into making these cheerfuls. It's your time to thank them. Firstly, to my fans, thank you for coming here to cheer for me and our members from the SSU University team. I would also like to thank my wife, who always makes sure I have a comfortable environment to practice in, and for helping me practice since Paralyze, Mini, Best. Thank you so much. And Calm. You know, I didn't know how to make use of Devourers on Roaring Currents. And Calm showed me how to do it last night. If it wasn't for him, I would probably have lost. So I'd very much like to thank Calm. Alright, congratulations once more. Best of luck in achieving your dream on the grand final stage. Guys, let's send Soma a round of applause. Congratulations.
Okay, we are talking.
Okay.
It's like, is it our turn or not? Man, it was really cool to share this round of 4 with you guys. I had a lot of fun. Yeah. Kind of a tragic death there for Bisu at the end, but you know, Ling all-ins are part of the game. You've got to be really careful. Big balls play to Soma for pulling that out when everything was on the line. That's insane.
Yeah. Now, Soma versus Snow in this finals, like, very, very different stylistically. Whereas Soma and Bisu are kind of close in that. They're both really good at opening and everything in the early game. Snow really is someone that I think about as maybe having the best late game Protoss versus Zerg. I would say some things like, for instance, I think he'll win Roaring Currents, but I think he might have a harder time against some of these insane Hydra busts that Bisu ended up holding. So, however that will change the series, I think it's really hard to predict, but I have in my gut that Snow is a bit better than Soma. But maybe I'm wrong.
I think Snow is supposed to take this, but there were so many ASLs he was supposed to take. Yeah. He's going to be going after his ultimate demon. as far as matchup goes. ZVP has always been where he's been the weakest. PVT, he's just a god. PvP, I think it's no problem. You know, I think he can hang and beat any Protoss out there. But PvZ, even though he's really, really good and he's made huge strides and huge improvements, this has been the matchup that has basically locked him out of the finals before. Now he's in the finals against an extremely formidable Zerg player.
Yeah, and it definitely could go either way. Now, please remember, this isn't like 1 week from now. It's a little bit longer than that, right? I think it's like the finals is like 9 days after you might be watching this. The day it's released, like something like that?
10 days, I think,
okay.
10 or maybe even 11. So we had this break with Chuseok, which is basically one of the 2 biggest holidays in Korea. So we had this break before, so we had like a whole bunch of days off. We have about the same number of days off again. We always have a huge break before the, after the semifinals, before the finals. So we're going to have another period of time off where you guys can tweet at us, can come into our streams and annoy us and ask us when it's going to come out. It is going to be 10 days from now. So don't forget. And we're looking forward to doing that for you guys. And that's going to be the last ASL of the year before we get ready for 2026.
That's right. All right, guys. Hope that you enjoyed. Any other words, Tastosis, before we end this?
Go to the Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. We love you guys. We're going to see you for the finals. This may be one of the best ones ever. Bye-bye.